All right, if it'll record. All right.
What's the charge? Having a meal? A succulent Chinese meal?
Get your hands off my penis.
This man grabbed my penis.
I love that video. That guy's dead.
This is democracy made manifest. Yeah, the first that I heard of that was through James and Mason on the Weekly Planet. They were talking about it because they're like, it was, he's an Australian guy, I believe, so it was like kind of right in their backyard. They're talking about him.
Yeah, first time I heard about it was I listened to it here and there. I used to listen. God, my dog. Hopefully she's not too loud.
I can hear her a little bit, but if you bark, and maybe you should bark louder, and then she'll.
Raff, 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 raff. Now she thinks I'm communicating with her. Yeah, she's cussing me out now.
You're joining in at whatever she's screaming at. She's like, right? Yeah.
She's like, right? Yeah. These dang people coming onto my lawn.
I am sick and tired of these monkey-fied people on this Monday to Friday lawn.
Oh my gosh. But the succulent Chinese meal guy. The first time I heard about him, it was a podcast I used to listen to called Your Mom's House. And it's Tom Segura and his wife Christina Pajitsky, like both comedians. Tom Segura is a pretty big comedian, but they viewed that video, and that video will always live on in my heart.
How long ago was that? Because it feels like it's like just now blowing up.
The video, it was like the 90s. It was at least the 90s. Like it could have been earlier, it could have been late 80s, but it's like it's 90s. It can't be.
Why is that suddenly becoming a thing now?
What's also weird is like how it's like a resurgence of it.
Yeah.
Because when I saw that clip, when I saw it was maybe 7 years ago or so.
Yeah.
But the past couple years, there's been like a resurgence of that video. So
yeah, because like the first I heard of it was like 2 months ago from the Weekly Planet, and that's like, oh, this must be some sort of fun local Australian thing that they're sharing with the world, and then all of a sudden you see it all over the internet.
I think part of it could be that the guy, the guy who was talking, he died sometime this year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I remember seeing that. I think it was sometime within the past maybe 2 or 3 months he died. So I think that was also a thing that like brought it back, like a resurgence of it.
Yeah, because sorry.
Oh no, go ahead.
No, I was just interrupting your thought to say, because like all of a sudden I'm seeing it in like memes, like pictures of people picking up Mudeng, and and then like that little baby hippo in the Chinese do, picking up Mudeng, and her mouth is like hanging open, and so it's just got the caption, "What's the charge? Having a meal? A succulent Chinese meal?" I tried to put that full quote in there as my little subtitle, but it was over 50 characters, so I had to.
I didn't even know there was a limit.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's not the first time I've thought of a quote that exceeded the character limit. I've had to edit down my quotes before.
The thought I had before with the succulent Chinese meal guy is this is maybe a couple years ago. Luckily, they were able to do this before the man died. They had a sit down with the restaurant owner and him, and they talked like decades later.
Yeah,
like they talking like it was like water under the bridge sort of thing. They were just talking sort of thing. But I thought that video, it's on YouTube somewhere, but it was very interesting hearing these two people talk, because the restaurant owner is the one that had called the cops.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because so was the guy actually a serial dine and dasher, or was that just like an accusation that came out of nowhere?
I'd have to look back at that video where they're both talking to each other, because I think they bring it up. I think it was just like I don't think he did anything wrong, but I think it was one of those things where like it was perceived that he was like a dine and dasher or something.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on it. I'd have to hit the books. I'd have to do some research.
And it is incredible that this should happen to the closest thing I think human civilization has ever achieved to a living cartoon character. Just from the way he speaks.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it very much is it feels like yeah, an adult version of like cartoons you grew up with. Like hearing these characters talk, it's like,
This
oh,
man
that's
grabbed
just
my
the,
penis.
yeah. It sounds like a cartoon character.
This is democracy made manifest. Like, I want to talk like that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna watch videos of that dude until I figure out his speech pattern. I'm just gonna talk like him.
Yeah, and just constantly replay the video.
Yeah.
And you're speaking, you're saying exactly what he's saying, but then branching off and having regular conversations in that speech pattern and stuff.
Yeah. I just gotta break down what chunk of the dictionary is he drawing from specifically. And like narrow my vocabulary to that, or expand it if he's using a larger chunk than I do.
Yeah, compared to me, he's using some.
Yeah,
Boy,
it is
do I
difficult
look stupid.
I will say it's difficult for me to find someone who has a wider vocabulary than I do, but he seems like the sort of guy that would.
Yeah, for real. Yeah. That's why I'm very impressed with the man. Whatever he did, he could have I don't know, he could have shot someone in that restaurant. I'd be like, man, this is a wise guy. I just want to hear him talk.
This is democracy made manifest.
It's like, tell me more. How? I'm learning.
What's the charge? Having a meal? Having a succulent Chinese meal? No, the charge is that you just shot a guy.
It's murder.
It's murder. You're going away for life.
Get your hands off my penis.
Get your hands off my penis. This man touched my penis.
Rest in peace, succulent Chinese meal guy.
Yeah. You earned it.
Yeah, that interview with him and the owner makes me feel he earned it. But
so you go ahead. Because I was about to redirect things to like kind of a rundown of what I've got for the recording.
Okay. I don't want to, because my thing might trail off for a good thing, but like and I texted you some about it maybe a week or so ago. Life things and how life is good now, but since I texted you, a lot different than you may be thinking.
Okay.
So if people are hearing me in a more chipper mood or anything like that today, it's been that way for a couple of weeks. Teo has a feeling or might have a thought of where this is going. It's going to shift. There was a girl I met, and we hit it off like very great. Dates great, all that sort of stuff. We like talk like we like had so much stuff in common. Like just nearly everything was like compatible sort of thing. And it was like literally I know this is crazy to say, I did fall in love very quick, but it was just how much time we had talked and spent with each other and stuff. And so I mentioned all that to say things didn't work out how I wanted, but they worked out how I needed, sort of thing, where we both saw each other as like, oh, like this could be like that person sort of thing. We both had some inkling of thought in that direction because we did spill guts, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But
She didn't die, did
she didn't die. That'd be wild if I'm like talking like this after she died.
I
That
feel
is
so
really messed up.
incredible. This
It's like, oh, thank
whirlwind
no.
romance.
No, great woman. She's a great person.
And I don't even have to spend the rest of my life on it. She can just be a perfect memory.
Great person. Like no malice or anything like on either of our sides.
Okay.
But it was one of those things where there was a key thing, and I'll get into like life transformations and stuff. I'm telling you, like it's crazy. But there was a key thing that we weren't compatible on.
Okay.
And that key thing for both of us, for me, like a priority thing for me was like faith and God.
Yeah.
We're compatible on like literally almost anything else.
Yeah.
But faith and compatibility with God, like she believes in God, like she grew up Catholic sort of thing, but like modern faith and compatibility, we're just on two different ends of the spectrum sort of thing.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah, and it was one of those things where that was ultimately the thing where.
Real quick, I don't think I've ever asked you this. What is your denomination, if you have one?
I'm non-denominational.
Okay.
I mean, like I'll go to a denomination. Like I have no issue with that. But I'm non-denominational.
I also like I grew up non-denominational, so like I always like for a while I've been thinking like I've never asked Brandon what denomination he is, I think. So
yeah. I'm non-denominational. Like my key thing is like scripture, like what scripture says, as opposed to man-made traditions that may be about, because there's man-made traditions in any congregation or church.
Yeah.
But scripture being at the forefront of it, and not letting man-made traditions trump scripture sort of thing.
Yeah, that's always how I've kind of, because whenever people ask me, because there have been people, even people in the faith, who have asked me what it means to be non-denominational, the best I could think of is like we just kind of de-ritualize everything. It's like like literally the only consistent thing is the foundational like scripture, and that's it. Like we don't we don't like, sure, like we might participate in communion, but like it's not a big ritual. It's not this ritualized thing where it's like we have specific words that we need to say. And
no, like there's no forced and I'm not bashing like any denomination by saying this, but there's no like forced like, hey, say this prayer for this or whatever it may be, sort of thing.
Prayer is treated less like a magic incantation. Like I know that sounds derogatory, but that's
I get what you mean,
that's the way I perceive like a lot of like Catholic prayer and stuff. Is, you know, it's like for us, prayer is a conversation and it's treated less like some kind of magic incantation that just washes the problems away.
It's very much less formal. I mean, there is like a formality with God, because like he is like much greater than us. If you and if anyone's listening, like I'm not trying to like push you into anything. This is just us talking about like our lives sort of thing.
Yeah, this isn't a sermon. This is just us kind of talking.
No. Yeah, this is just us talking about our lives sort of thing. But forgot what I was saying exactly. But
sorry, you mentioned that there were some key distinctions in faith that kind of function as a deal breaker.
Oh yeah. So it was very different ends of the spectrum. Again, compatibility on nearly everything else. But that one thing And it took me these 2 weeks to truly realize like that's what trumps all the other compatibility things for me is like that faith and belief in God. And it doesn't mean like oh, I go to this church and she goes to that church. It's not that at all.
Yeah.
It's just simply like where are you at in your faith? And I'm not saying someone has to like be equal with me or greater than me or like they have to like or I'm lesser or anything. Like I'm not saying that at all. It's just like how we view things in life
Yeah.
can be different because of that.
Yeah.
Um and like there was a good conversation. Again, it's not how like I thought it was gonna end slash play out. But there was a good conversation between both of us on like how we both felt about certain stuff and how we did very very much like each other. Like I mentioned, like this was my first love. Like realistically, it was.
Wow.
Yeah, it was my first love, but it's and like I'm not saying like I'm like fully healed or anything like that. It takes time. I'll get
Yeah.
into that more. Um, but it was my first love, but the love formed from these things that like even like great person, like fantastic person. Like she is not a bad person by any means. Like she is a great person, but we just didn't have that commonality spiritually.
Yeah.
I think that's a better way to put it for people.
Yeah.
Is we didn't have a spiritual commonality.
Yeah.
Look, take labels away if you want to, listener. Take Christianity away. Take this away. Take that away. We didn't have that commonality spiritually.
Yeah.
And that was a crucial key component for me that I didn't realize before. Because like dating and stuff before and talking to girls and stuff before, like high school, college, after college, that sort of stuff, like I was focused more on like I would see like Christian, like let's say dating apps, for example. I'd see Christian in the bio. And
Yeah.
Christian in a bio can mean a number of things
Oh,
regarding
yeah.
like
once we get to the end of this, I've kind of got an example myself from my own experience.
perfect. Yeah. But it's one of those things where like again, this isn't like bashing anyone, but like you can call yourself a Christian, but are you trying
Yeah.
like to be that? There's a big difference.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean you aren't a Christian. Like you can still be a Christian, but like are you trying in that is the thing. And so I went about dating apps for years, as well as like going on dates with people and stuff with like I want her to be a Christian girl, but like realistically looking at it now, like I didn't really focus or care about that at that time, to where it would lead to these things that would pit her off, or they might go somewhat longer, but they didn't surmount to anything because of that deep down number one commonality that I seek, that not being there.
Yeah.
And it took me till now to realize that. Again, this isn't bashing anyone. If anything, it's like, hey, like self-reflecting at me of like, oh, look at this big dummy sort of thing.
Yeah.
It's just me finally realizing like what I actually do want in dating slash something more in the future.
Yeah. And the thing is, this is something that, applies to more faiths than just Christian denominations as well. Because like,
Oh yeah,
yeah, I'm sure like for the atheists and agnostics who might be listening, it's not, you know, quite the same thing, because obviously you don't like, well, I don't want, again, I don't want to come across disparaging, but like you don't live your life by like a specific spiritual foundation. You're living it by your own personal ethical and moral code, as you see fit. But like this would, you know, this is something that would be important to well, from my understanding, largely the Abrahamic religions. So like, you know, this is the same thing that like a Muslim man would be going through, or a Jewish man would be going through, like with searching their spouse. You want someone who is, you know, equally as like invested in the, you know, your spiritual path, I guess. Someone who can help you and you can help along on your spiritual journeys. The way my parents put it is, you don't want to be unequally yoked.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Like for me personally, I kind of realized that speaking of Christian in your dating app bio, I realized that my faith was a more important part of finding a partner than I thought it was when I started. When there was a girl that I saw for 2 dates earlier this year, and she was really nice, very pretty, you know, very nice girl. And when I told her that, you know, I wasn't interested in pursuing anything romantically, I tried to keep a connection with her and tell her that I was interested in maybe continuing to like try for a platonic friendship. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She wasn't interested in that, which I get. It's completely understandable. But you know, I like just to show that, like, you know, it wasn't that I thought she was a bad person or anything, but kind of like, you know, with you. But on our second date, I learned that she was a Jehovah's Witness. And so for me, that one in particular was a little bit of a deal breaker.
And again, it's like, it's not by any means bashing like this group or this spiritual mindset or this mindset or anything like that. It's just we're on 2 different wavelengths almost. It
was less about like the specific denomination she was with. I don't even know if Jehovah's Witness qualifies as a Christian denomination, actually. I'm not sure, but I don't know enough about it. All I know is that it's different enough from the version of things that you and I subscribe to be incompatible.
Yeah.
So
no, that makes complete sense, because like it was. I'm glad. Like because I don't feel like any like, oh, like regret of like, oh, why did it take this long for me to learn this sort of thing? Hey, like I could have been like in my 50s and learned it, and even then, like I'd still be happy that I learned this about myself.
Because early on, like using dating apps and stuff, like I was incredibly flexible about spirituality if I thought that a girl shared enough interest with me and was cute enough. Because there was recently a conversation at my family's dinner table about like talking with practitioners of witchcraft, or what we call witchcraft. I'm not, there's, you know, different things. But yeah, and because like my sister like briefly spoke with a guy who claimed to be a warlock over a dating app once, and she was like, "Ooh, that doesn't work for me." and then I mentioned to my mom, just like offhandedly, like, yeah, you'd be surprised how flexible I was about, you know, whether or not a girl was like identified specifically as a witch on dating apps. And then she just very bluntly said back to me, "No, I wouldn't." And I thought, yeah, no, you probably wouldn't be that surprised, because I know I'm supposed to be a good Christian boy, but unfortunately, the witch aesthetic is something that really appeals to me.
It's them
For
goth girls,
girls,
man.
yeah, like goth girls. Even like cottage core like witches, like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
very autumnal. Like I've said before, like autumn is my favorite season. So like the type who wear like a lot of oranges and browns and yellows and like are very druidy also are
Yeah, yeah.
appealing. So it's one of those things where it's like, ooh, it's hard.
Yeah, yeah. No. I completely agree because we've talked about uh I know you were describing broader, but we've talked about like goth girls. I'm not saying like I'm not bashing goth girls by any means. It's just it's with that aesthetic,
Yeah.
it's hard to find like someone who is on the spiritual wavelength as me with that aesthetic sort of thing.
Yeah, yeah. Like I think there was once we were on our way home from a con and we were like, where are all the Christian goth girls with tattoo
For
sleeves?
real.
But yeah.
but no, it's no, I like talking about this stuff because you just learning about oneself, and also people, like, we're talking about this like by no means is this like bashing any specific person or specific groups or anything like that. Like literally, I might not like pursue a romantic relationship with someone who identifies as uh, a, a witch or whatever. But I would still like to, like, if possible, be friends. Just like
Yeah.
just talk like that. I have no problem with that at all.
Play some
I
D&D.
love getting to know people. What'd you say?
Play some D&D.
Yeah, play some D&D. Yeah. Like I love talking to literally anyone.
Yeah.
Um like just people's
Brandon's number one person he would love to have a conversation with. I've seen his notebook with this list in it is Adolf Hitler.
look. All right, you're about to have I wouldn't. Okay. By no means is he.
The stealth cutoff there was just impeccably timed.
Maybe I just need to shut up.
Oh my god.
No, I'm joking. No. I by no means would want to have a conversation in that route or anything like that. But I like knowing or talking about psychology and what like because there's just random things like butterfly effect things that just like
Yeah.
cause history, and not only like something like that, but just a person's history. um that's the stuff I'm extremely fascinated about.
Yeah.
Is like and it's not, it's by no means am I looking at anyone as like a test subject or anything like that. It's nothing like that. It's more just like I like hearing what led this person to getting here. And a lot of times it's like, again, we're off that topic of that man. This is just general. This is general speaking here. General people.
Well, it all started when they wouldn't let me into the art school.
General people speaking here. They're a key thing with what leads us to being who we are is trauma. And what I mean specifically by that is I don't mean like everyone is like
Scarred and
physically
traumatized
abused as a
and
kid
broken.
or yeah like I'm not like doing a trauma Olympics or a competition where it's like this one is over this one.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm saying when I'm talking about trauma. Like everyone faces trauma in their life. It's different degrees, it looks differently, but the part in your brain, the amygdala, the part that focuses on anxiety, that focuses on fears, that can dictate and contribute to how you are guided through life, that part doesn't recognize a difference between, oh, this is worse than this.
Yeah.
If it affects your amygdala, like even if you think it's small, like no, that's trauma. That's the thing that like guided you to this thing in your life or whatever it may be. I got two examples of this. Of
Amygdala is also one of my favorite obscure Batman villains.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Amygdala. I don't even remember what amygdala looks like.
He's just like a big beefy dude. I've seen him exactly once. He's in like the Nightfall saga.
Okay.
There's a thing where he jumps out of a window and beats on Batman, and then Batman.
I remember him being in the Nightfall saga, but I just can't remember what he looks like.
Yeah, like he's not a favorite of the writers, which is why he doesn't pop up much.
Yeah, yeah. But with the trauma thing, so yeah. Sometimes a lot of people, they hear trauma, they're thinking of these big, crazy events because we that's like a lot of people don't truly know about trauma. Like, yes, those are traumatic things, but again, everyone's brain is different, everyone's amygdala is different. Everyone faces some degree of trauma. Trauma is trauma. Case in point of this, Kevin Smith has a great video on YouTube where I think he's talking to like People magazine. And this was like a little over a year ago.
Yeah.
This is a month later from this, he checked himself into a mental institution.
Yeah.
To like, because he felt like he had snapped because there was an event in his life that had happened, and he started talking about it with someone, and it like just reshaped his brain and stuff. And he was like, I gotta seek help. Like I didn't realize, like I was putting it off. I didn't realize how bad this was. It's worse than I thought.
Yeah, I'd heard that he checked himself into a hospital.
Yeah.
A while ago.
So he did that about a year ago. Month after he gets out, he does this. It's not even an interview. It's more just him talking.
Yeah.
With People magazine, and like he breaks it down. He talks about it. He talks about one of the things where he was 9 years old. He was 9 years old, and he through therapy as well as like talking with people, he realized like this is a thing that led to stuff. When he was 9 years old, he was in school, and he was like trying to sit in his desk or scoot into his desk, and his gut was kind of hanging out. He was a little bit bigger, a little bit chubbier.
Yeah.
His gut was kind of hanging out, and the teacher walked by and like in front of the class said like oh, Smith, like Mr. Smith, like gut's hanging out, like that's gross, or something along that lines.
Yeah.
Something that seemed like so minor, like to the rest of us, and even to Kevin, like just played it off most of his life, like that's like a funny anecdote sort of thing. But when he traced it back, when he thought about his life, when he was trying to make changes and stuff, he realized some things like that was a butterfly effect thing. That event then affected him in like his self-image, how he saw himself. That's why he'd always wear hockey jerseys and stuff like that, the very baggy stuff.
Yeah, because he's always worn very, very loose-fitting clothes.
Yeah, very, very loose-fitting clothes. It affected his self-image, where he always saw himself as like big, even when he may have been obese. And then even after that, when he lost the weight, he still saw himself as like big, and he'd still don the hockey jerseys and the trench coats and all that stuff.
And the thing is, even the clothes that he would use to hide his weight, I've seen, countless things on the internet, people even criticizing that, saying that he dresses like a 12-year-old boy. It's like, dude, let him dress the way he wants. Like, for me, I've always admired Kevin Smith for just kind of dressing in whatever's comfortable.
Yeah, like it literally doesn't affect us negatively in any way. It doesn't
Yeah,
harm anyone else. Like
yeah.
that's
I
my key
always I
thing.
always liked like what his wardrobe added to his public persona.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know him as the. I mean, not as much anymore. He doesn't dress this much anymore. But yeah, I
No,
knew him as like the hockey jersey guy, and he'd wear jorts.
but
Like
yeah, even his podcast was called Fat Man on Batman.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It was one of those things where like there are those things in our lives that can happen, and we may play it off as minor, and maybe other people see it as minor and stuff, but the amygdala doesn't see it as that. But you are trying to cope through it and survive throughout life. So like your brain is always just coming up with like the joke about yourself, or like if someone thinks about this about me, I'm going to beat them to it. I'm
Yeah,
going to say I'm going to say the self-deprecating thing about myself before they do, because like deep down I might not be able to take that.
yeah,
I'd play it off, but deep down you might not be able to take that. And Kevin Smith talked about that a good bit. And that was just one example. You mentioned another example when he was 6 years old, and people can watch that video. But I mentioned all that to say, like trauma, it plays differently for everyone.
yeah,
But we all have an amygdala, we all have brains, but our amygdala is different for everyone, and it'll latch on to something, uh, uh, whether you know it or not. And
yeah,
you definitely don't know it when it happens. It's not till later in life when things have gotten to a point, or and I'm not saying like spiraled, but they got to a point and you're like, how did I get to this point? And then you start backtracking and seeing that sort of thing.
yeah.
Um,
Well,
so
yeah, like if I can get a little personal for a second here,
yeah, you're good.
I was asked multiple times when I was a real little kid by adults the question, "What is wrong with you?"
Mm,
Which is something that, in the moment, yeah, it hurts, and you're a little kid and you don't know how to respond to that. But it's something that like stuck with me for a long time. So
yeah.
but yeah, like I can definitely understand how that like, and that's something I've already kind of started picking apart myself and looking back at like how just being asked that question uh, has shaped the way I look at myself and how I've tried to make adjustments. Because like especially for the past like 10 years in particular, um, I'm I've had to change very rapidly because
Hmm.
I was an extremely different person a decade ago than I am right now, and yeah, and maybe that was a way to respond to it, but yeah. So and like you said, like it's something that we turn into a joke, because how do I preface pretty much every manga study segment? I say, if you're reading along, don't read all 20 of these. I'm doing this because there's something wrong with me.
But it's like what you said, like even within the joke there is like with yourself. I'm not saying this about you, I'm not saying this about anyone listening. With yourself, like there's like something there.
Yeah. But
Like
yeah, at this point, for me though, I've personally grown very comfortable using that as a bit of a joke,
yeah,
because
yeah,
it's an easy way for me to explain away some of the obsessive tendencies I have and the intricacies of my behavior without actually having to tell someone what I think
yeah,
is wrong with me.
yeah. No, like that's like good. The key thing is like just whatever it is with anyone, being able to see it slash acknowledge it, because that's where like for me, for example, like I'm more than happy nowadays to get open with stuff. Like my last year, like Teo knows some of this stuff. We've talked about it some. Last year I had a lot of like just craziness in my life.
Yeah.
It was a family stuff and just a mix of a bunch of different stuff.
It was
And
pretty hectic from what I
yeah,
remember hearing.
yeah, it was all over the place. But a big part of it was it was all over the place. And I'm gonna try to tie this back to
Yeah.
this most recent relationship. The
Mm.
story can tie back to that.
Yeah.
Um, it it was one of those things where uh, I had just been. Here's how to tie it back, because I've talked with friends about it and stuff. Um, like, because I was talking with them about my stuff as well as them about their stuff. But uh, there was someone I was talking to a good bit, a little over a year ago. It was August 2023, July and August 2023. I was talking with them a good bit. A strong Christian woman. I was talking with her for a month and a half or so. Um, and it was good conversations, but I had all this stuff happening in my life, all these different things, and the biggest thing was talking with this girl, and I started to get like kind of distant in the talking and stuff.
Mm.
And a big issue with that, the reason for that was like me not being willing to be open slash like feel my emotions.
Yeah, you were trying to contain the way you felt about it as
I,
you were
I
speaking.
it was a number of things. It's exactly what you're saying, but I'm going to branch it to all these elements. It was with the family stuff. It was me not wanting to be open and
Mm.
discuss with my family how I felt, how they felt, all
Yeah.
this sort of stuff. It was an element of not wanting to really be open with her with everything that was going on.
Yeah.
Um, it was all this stuff where like my brain at that time, as well as my faith at that time, was just like okay, I just need to. I was writing like crazy, like
Mm.
writing comics like crazy at that time. Um, I was just focused, laser focused on that of just write these comics like it was essentially getting away from reality slash the realization of things. And it's okay to have escapism here or there, but this was very much like okay, I can't handle. I at the time I felt like I can't handle reality, so I'm just going to
Yeah.
laser focus on this one thing, these comics. And also that stuff I wrote at that time, I probably won't ever publish it or anything like that, because it very much was and is, I see it as is, dumb nothingness. Like
Mm.
it was some comedy stuff. It was a lot of the fair stuff. Like I sent you some of those scripts and stuff.
Oh yeah, the day at the fair stuff.
Yeah, a day at the fair stuff. Like yes, like
So you
there's
don't think
like
that one's gonna materialize?
maybe some of the stories will, because I wrote like 20 plus stories for that.
Yeah.
But a lot of it very much was just like I'm just going to write, even though like I look at it now, and those are funny scripts. A lot of them can be funny scripts, but there's like nothing to them.
Yeah.
There's like if I if I want people to read my stuff, I want them to like get something out of it.
Yeah.
Um, and they can dislike it.
Yeah.
By no means am I saying they have to like it, but at least like me, I truly want to put a piece of me into my work.
Yeah.
And at that time, I very much was just like, ah, ha ha ha, jokes, ah, ha ha
Yeah.
ha, like
Just
here's
pumping
all I
it out.
have to offer, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Um, And so I was laser focused on that. The reason I mentioned that is laser focused on that, not focused on family, not focused on this girl I'm talking to. Um, and at one point, I start, my birthday happens August 14th, 2023. My birthday happens, and I think we texted a little bit on my birthday. And then there were maybe 3 or 4 days of silence. I didn't text 3 or 4 days. And then she had texted, she said it in a nicer way, or a nicer slash more to the point way.
Yeah.
She had texted something along the lines of uh, your silence. I'll take your silence as a sign.
Mm.
Like I hope everything goes okay with you and goes well. Good luck with your comics. And my text, I'll read it. I'll read it because maybe people can get something out of this. That's what I want at the end of the day with this. Is like, this isn't a self-pity party.
Yeah.
I've worked through this slash am working through this.
Yeah.
Uh,
You started this section of the recording by saying that you're in a more chipper mood.
yes, that's what I'm saying is like, and will possibly, it's going to be some rambling, but we'll possibly get to why I'm in that chipper mood. And it deals with a lot of what we're talking about of openness slash recognizing things from your past, what led you to where you are. So let me see. Okay, so I'm not going to say the person's name, but I mentioned the
Darn
text
it.
before.
Darn it to pieces. I wanted to fully dox this person.
So I actually have the text before. I'll start from there and read my text and then their response. So they said, I'm going to take your absence as a sign. It's been nice getting to know you. Good luck with your comics. I texted back, I am so sorry, insert person's name. I thought I was ready to get back into the dating scene, but I realize I am not. There's a lot of work that I need to do on myself for me to be able to truly devote my time and my caring to another person outside of my family and outside of myself, and for me to not rely on being busy. I truly apologize, as you really are a great and beautiful person. You deserve someone who will really devote their time to you. And there's honesty in that.
Yeah.
But I'll get to a bit of it in a second. Her response was, I know, just would have been nice to hear otherwise instead of sitting here wondering and being excited for the past month.
Ooh.
So I mention all this because the current, like the most recent thing, I looked back at this talking with this girl over a year ago, and I can easily relate now to her.
Yeah.
And how she must have been about it, because I put stock into stuff that truly was insignificant. I like making comics. I'm still going to make comics.
Yeah.
The stuff I was writing at the time, though, was just like nothingness to me.
Yeah.
Like I truly wasn't putting me in it, or a piece of me in it. And like with all art, an artist is going to feel great about their art if they're putting a piece of them in it.
Yeah.
But I wasn't doing that, and I was so laser focused on that stuff that was ultimately insignificant, to where, yeah, it just led to that. Like this person who is on this wavelength, and again, people, like you don't have to say Christian, Muslim, don't have to say like spiritual. If you are on a wavelength and the other person is on a completely different wavelength from where you are, like it's just not going to work. Like there can be a lot of commonalities and stuff, but if there is a principal thing, like a key thing at the top for you,
Yeah.
again, it doesn't have to be Christianity, uh, being Muslim or any sort of spirituality. It's just one of those things of if you have a key principal thing in your mind and in your life of a relationship, and the other person is on a different wavelength, you can have all the compatibilities in the world, but if those key things aren't matched, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
So I mention all that to say, the past 2 weeks for me were a bit of a roller coaster, but honestly, maybe the best 2 weeks ever, because it very much was like God, like putting this person / using this person to like open my eyes up. Because it goes beyond this relationship thing. I'm going to get into it. There were these strong feelings and stuff, and like love came about it and stuff like that. But with all of that, one, I felt what love actually felt like. I felt an emotion I had never felt before. Yes, it was geared towards the wrong things, but I did feel love. There was that, but with that, so many just random weird life changes happened for me. Like I like happily go on walks in the morning every morning now. Like I love going on walks in the morning. I love like listening to podcasts, reading and listening to podcasts about anything. Yes, spiritual podcasts. Yes, sometimes some Christian podcasts and stuff, but just walking and listening to people just talk. And I've always liked podcasts, but now I'm more listening to what people are saying. So I'm walking every morning, I'm eating healthy, and it's one of those things where this is just like just
Like
randomly happened.
Freak.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying is it's weird because before this, like the quote unquote healthy thing I did was like I cut sugary drinks out of my diet. Now, if I go out to eat, I'll get like a sweet tea. It's an occasion sort of thing.
I'm going to illustrate a bit of unintentional comedy right there. Obviously the listener wouldn't have been able to see, and neither can you. Literally, the second the word sugary drinks came out of your mouth, when you said that you were cutting sugary drinks, I lifted a 2-liter sized bottle of cola to my mouth. No cup. I'm not pouring it anything. I'm drinking from the 2-liter bottle. As you said, you were cutting up sugary drinks.
I didn't even mean it like that. The second you started talking, I was like, "Oh my gosh, Teo is probably." Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
No, that's all good. It's not like sugary drinks are a part of my religion or anything. It's just no. I know. I'm just saying for the listeners that like
yeah.
I have developed a reputation amongst literally all of my friends because I drink more really unhealthy stuff than pretty much everybody else I know, and I really, really do need to cut back before it becomes a problem. It's really difficult.
It really is. Like I mean, it took me forever to like, and I'm not saying this is like the healthiest thing ever, but oh no, what the heck? I thought I got zero sugar Mountain Dew. No.
Oh my god, no.
I've been drinking zero sugar Mountain Dew for like 2 months, just about. This isn't going to like set me back. It's not like
here you are falling off the wagon. Right, I'm not going to
fall off the wagon. I'm setting it aside now because I thought it was a zero sugar one this whole time. I've gotten to the point like it tasted like zero sugar Mountain Dew to me. I know there is a difference. Like once, because that was a big thing. Once I like was weaning myself off of regular Mountain Dew,
Yeah.
like, and you try the zero sugar or you try the diet or whatever, you taste the difference, but
Yeah.
you get used to it. It's not as bad as you may think, but yeah, I'm setting that aside. I'm not going to drink that. Stick to my Propel right here. Um, but no, it was one of those things where before these 2 months, I started cutting sugary drinks out of my diet, and yeah, I'm still drinking Mountain Dew, but zero sugar Mountain Dew, and yes, it's not the healthiest thing ever, but like sugar is really the big problem when it
Yeah.
comes to like any of this stuff. You can still drink soda. It's just like if you can cut the sugar out, that's the good thing.
Yeah.
Um, but and then
Yeah.
this isn't like
I
me
really
like
need to. I really need to start turning soda into a special treat instead of what I drink in place of water.
yeah.
Because and you know, I feel like I've kind of found a good way to do that. My mom and I looked it up and found out that you can get a 40-pack of Sprecher soda mailed to you
Oh dang.
from
Is
from
Sprecher's,
Wisconsin.
you've mentioned Sprecher's before.
Yeah, it's real good. It's my favorite soda brand.
Is it a cola or?
It's usually a root beer, but they have
That's right. Okay.
they're known for their root beer, but they have other flavors. They have a cola, a strawberry soda, a cherry cola, a blueberry soda, a grape soda, an orange soda, a cream soda. They got a bunch of different flavors. But yeah, the root beer is the one they're the most famous for. But yeah, they're a brewery based in Wisconsin and I believe in Milwaukee. And they do brew alcoholic beverages too, but I think they're actually more famous for the soft drinks, which is abnormal.
Yeah. For like a brewing company that's
Yeah.
it's like, yeah. Like alcohol sells like crazy across the world, but definitely in the United States. And
Yeah.
yet, like, no, our sodas.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
weird.
like it's weird because like I see like yeah, I'm pretty sure Sprecker's way more famous for their soda than they are for anything alcoholic that they brew. But
Yeah.
yeah, so that might be a way for me to do it where I just start stocking more water in my house and then I just have a 40-pack of Sprecher bottles that I get like once a month and drink like one a day or a couple a week or something.
And I'm not expecting you to like it or not. Did you ever try any of those Propels? Like I know I had brought some to some conventions here and there, but like
I
the
think
flavored water.
yeah, I used to drink Propel when I was younger too. Yeah, like, you know, Propel's fine.
Yeah, and I'm not saying it's like the healthiest thing ever. Like
No, because the thing
everything.
is non-sugar sweeteners can be just as bad as sugar, but in different ways.
Yeah. Like there's an unhealthy thing. Like with Propel, the thing I see is like aside from the artificial sweeteners, the biggest issue could be the sodium intake.
Oh yeah.
Usually per bottle there's like 250 milligrams of soda or sodium.
Yeah. Jeez, it's water. Why is there so much sodium?
Yeah. Well, that just shows there's a lot going into it. But like, yes, Propel isn't the healthiest thing, but it's healthier than, and that's a key thing is like, don't like, this isn't just Teo, like anyone, like don't just like do like cut everything out and you're just drinking water sort of thing. It's not going to work at all. It's not going. I mean, there might be some people with that mindset, but for the most part, most people, it's not going to work that way. You have to ease yourself / wean yourself off, and you have to find. They might not be extreme healthy, like just a bottle of water or something, but you have to find healthier alternatives.
Yeah.
Uh,
Because the thing is, I've tried detoxing full turkey and
it
my
it
body
doesn't work.
and my mind go through hell because sugar is extremely addictive
I'm
and
the same way.
and it will give you horrific migraines to just cut it out without any sort of strategy.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's why I say like it literally is like, I'm not saying it's like drug withdrawals. Drug withdrawals are very, very strong and bad. I've
Yeah.
seen that in people's lives, but
Oh
you
yeah,
are
like there can be organ
withdrawing.
failures with drug withdrawals.
Yeah, yeah. But with sugar, you are withdrawing from sugar. And like you said, there is, especially if you've like, I'll say it, if you've been on sugar long enough in your life, like there are going to be negative health effect, like you said, the migraines and stuff
Yeah.
of like
From
cutting
my
cold turkey.
from my experience, it's mostly just migraines, but like for me, like I'm so headache prone as it is that like I don't like putting up with that. So
Yeah, yeah, no, that makes sense. Like my mom gets migraines pretty often, not as much as she used to, but yeah, like something that always helped her was like getting a Coke or a Pepsi,
Mm.
like, and not that it like cured the migraine, but it was like, okay, like so
It
I
took
can
the edge off.
function today.
Yeah.
But
I'm sure it took the edge off to have the sugar and the
yeah,
caffeine back in your system, because that's what
yeah,
it
yeah,
does for me. Like it's never a cure for a migraine to start getting more sugar back in my system after I've started withdrawing, but it does
yeah,
help like dull it.
exactly, yeah, yeah. And when I'd mentioned like cutting most sugary drinks out of my diet and stuff, like it wasn't all at once, and I'm still like navigating through it because I don't like to drink just straight up water. But I'm also not going to do, because my brain won't. I wish my brain could be tricked. I'm not saying like anyone like, I'm not calling anyone dumb by any means. It's just people's brains work differently. That's a
Yeah.
good way to put it.
Some less good than
The
others.
the I forgot what it was. It's the that water bottle that almost every YouTuber was advertising,
Talking
like
about air up.
Air Up. Yeah, yeah, where it's literally just a scent
Yeah.
that gets sprayed into your nose, and it tricks your brain into thinking like, oh, like I'm having like a strawberry drink or whatever,
I
when really you're just
think
drinking water
I think the scent goes in your mouth.
or mouth. That's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
it goes in your mouth while you're drinking the water, and it tricks your brain into thinking that the water is flavored. Which
yeah.
for me, I get it. Like I get wanting the water to be flavored, but I'm also at a point in my life where I've realized that. So okay, it's gotta be something like Zephyr Hills, or if you're in the northern part of the country, Ice Mountain. It's gotta be a water that does not taste like anything. I can drink completely flavorless water and enjoy it. So I feel like I
Mhm.
could probably just gradually replace the soda in my life with flat out water if I did it, like I said, gradually.
Yeah.
It's stuff like Dasani and Aquafina
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Nestle Pure Life, all that stuff that says purified on it, and it tastes like plastic, and I hate it.
And also half the time I just feel like, maybe it's just me. I feel like thirstier, like a lot quicker in drinking some of those waters.
Yeah.
Like compared to other things I drink. Like I'll drink a sip and then like only a couple minutes later, less than a couple minutes later, I'm like, like I'm really thirsty. I need some drink.
Really.
I don't know. It's weird.
For me, if I'm drinking soda, I can never properly be satisfied. I'm always thirsty. But
Mm.
if I've been having like if I get 2 bottles of like Zephyr Hills down my throat. This isn't sponsored, by the way. I just genuinely prefer Zephyr Hills.
Yeah,
If,
yeah,
if I get 2 bottles of Zephyr Hills, I can be good for a couple hours.
yeah. But yeah, it's the slow cutting back. Like I used to drink sweet tea like all the time. Like I'd make up sweet tea, I'd drink it. It was like that and some sort of soda, usually like Mountain Dew or like Dr. Pepper or something. Like that was my things I would always drink. But sweet tea was a big one. Like I thought sodas were going to be hard to cut off. Sweet tea, to me, because I just grew up on it, was the hardest like of any of the stuff I cut off. It was like the hardest one to cut off.
Yeah.
But how I did it was just gradually decrease the amount of sugar I would put in. Like it's not all at once. It goes from like which a lot of people that drink sweet tea, they do more than this.
Yeah.
But I would put like 2 cups of sugar in a like 2-gallon thing of tea.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah. Here's the thing, like rightfully so, people should see that as like, that is a lot of sugar.
That is a lot
People
of
that
sugar.
people that drink sweet tea though, they're like, you didn't put 3 or 4 cups? What's wrong with you?
You can't chew your tea?
Because they're basically thinking of like McDonald's level sweet tea.
Yeah.
McDonald's level sweet tea is the 3 to 4 cups of sugar.
Well, yeah, at McDonald's, they probably just put a bag of corn syrup in there. Because that's when I worked at Tom Thumb, that's what we would do, is we would pour a bag of corn syrup into the tea as it brewed. Yeah.
But yeah, it was gradually cutting it down to where like no cups. Eventually no cups. It took like a month or so, maybe close to 2 months, but eventually no sugar. And then like I'll still make up unsweet tea here and there. I don't dislike unsweet tea. It's good.
Yeah. I can just imagine over time you put less and less sugar in your sweet tea until it's just regular, just regular tea. You're just sipping it like, by Jove, this tea tastes it's better without the sugar in it.
Yeah. Part of what like helped me cut on that, because like we in the South, it's country sweet tea where you just get some Lipton bags, you boil the water, that sort of thing, and then you add your sugar and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
What helped me cut while still getting that sweet tea taste kind of was which I don't even drink it anymore, but getting like the specialized teas that you can find at stores where like you boil enough for like a cup or a mug basically, and you put the tea bag in, and it's usually like those like fancy brand sort of stuff. I say fancy brands, they're not expensive, they just have fancy sounding names and stuff. They're not Lipton
fancy brands
like
for
that.
Fancy Brandon.
Yes, a fancy brand for Fancy Brandon. Yes. But like getting those, and like some of them are like, oh, like blueberry flavor, where it's like a hint of blueberry. You can kind of like taste it, sort of thing.
Yeah.
That, and then adding a spoon of like raw molasses to it. That actually helped a lot in terms of like wanting that sweet taste.
Yeah.
Because molasses, like raw molasses, is way healthier than like any of the sugars you can buy, sort of thing. Doesn't mean like, hey, just eat a bunch of molasses every day.
Yeah.
But it's a way healthier alternative.
Just walk around the grocery store, just molasses in your mouth.
But yeah, just putting a spoon of molasses into that boiled water or boiled tea, and stirring it up, and it dissolving and stuff. It was good, and then eventually it helped me wean off of that sweet tea.
Just a spoonful of molasses helps the medicine go down.
I'm trying to imagine me today, no tea at all, just getting a spoon of molasses and just like yomping it, like, oh gosh, I'd be sick.
Yeah, that sounds sickening.
Because molasses, like it's looks like tar.
Yeah.
Like
when I was younger, I thought molasses was a type of tar. I didn't realize it was edible.
Yeah. But so I mentioned all that stuff. So I've cut like, I still don't drink the healthiest, but I cut a lot of unhealthy drinks out of my life. But I did that before these 2 weeks.
Yeah.
These 2 weeks though, it was almost like a snap. It's not like I even tried. I didn't even try to cut these. It just happened because of, I think, my focus on me having been in love, sort of thing, to where it drew all my attention away from this sort of stuff. Like reshaped my body. That's why I say like God use / place this person, at least in my life, for a reason.
It's this is the scene where Peter Parker has awakened on the floor after getting bitten by the spider, and he's looking in the mirror, and he's buff and he doesn't need his glasses anymore.
Yes. I mean, like, it's a good way. I'm going to describe it, and I'm going to describe, because I talked about this with a buddy of mine last week, and then I also talked about it with my grandma. And I'll say the two things they described it as, and it's very funny because they're very similar things, and they didn't know about each other, what the other person said, sort of thing.
Yeah.
What was oh yeah. So I'm walking every morning. Haven't done that in a year plus, sort of thing. Even when I used to walk, like back at the apartment, it was like once a week, couple times a week, sort of thing. But no, like I'm walking every morning, and this started and has continued since that relationship that was there. So I was walking every morning, am walking every morning. I started eating healthier, not even trying to. I wasn't even trying to eat healthier. I would just wake up, and I still do. I don't like feel entirely this way about some stuff now, but I'd wake up and like a microwavable breakfast burrito or something like that.
Yeah.
Like I don't eat breakfast right when I wake up. It's usually a couple hours after I wake up, sort of thing. But I'd see like a microwavable breakfast burrito, and before I just nuke it and eat it, sort of thing. But now it's like I'm almost like not entirely nauseated by it, but I'm like, oh, like I don't want to eat that. And I'm not a big. Oh, what'd you say?
Peasant food.
well, like for my body, I guess it was, or something. I don't know, because like it was a random shift. I wasn't even trying as a thing, and I haven't been trying. This is just how it's been.
Yeah.
I have never been a big fruit person. I think we've talked about this before. If not on the podcast, we've talked about it at like stores and stuff. Yeah. I think we talked about like a Walmart or something.
Yeah, one of our shopping trips for a con, we talked about it, because I love fruit. I don't eat as much of it as I used to, because I when I go grocery shopping, I'm focusing on what can store for a long time.
Yeah.
But like eventually I'll get to a point where I'll start buying fruit for myself.
Yeah. It was a weird thing, because I've never been a big fruit person. Like watermelon, I'll eat watermelon anytime. Watermelon, it's key, but watermelon has like barely any nutritional value in it.
Yeah, it's mostly water.
Yeah, exactly. But everything else, like berries and stuff like that, I'd eat an apple maybe once every few months, or sort of thing.
Apples are the best thing in the world.
Yes. Now I definitely see them as that.
Yes. Dude, what's your favorite kind of apple?
I honestly eat just about any. Like I'm a basic guy. I'll eat a red apple, but I'm willing to try other.
A red apple.
Like that's
what
I'm saying.
Red apple.
I'm talking about, like, I can't remember what they're called, but it's like the dark red ones.
Oh, Red Delicious?
Maybe that's it.
Ew.
They're the cheap ones. Hey, yes. look. I am. Yes, I'm not eating junk peasant food anymore, but I'm still eating peasant healthy food. I'm still a peasant.
As someone who grew up in Wisconsin, apple orchards are kind of a big deal up there, and like going to picking apples every fall was one of my favorite annual things. So I kind of became, I'm not like a connoisseur or an aficionado of apples, but I know enough about them to know which ones are like the really good ones. You want a great apple that's got a good hard snap to it and tastes like super sweet. Honeycrisp is the way to go. Honeycrisp is the best
Honeycrisp?
kind of apple, and they're
Okay.
typically pretty big. But the thing is, though, they're one of those ones where it's like they're mostly in season, like right in autumn, and like almost no other time of year.
Okay.
Like, I think you can get them year round, but I think they're best in the autumn.
Okay. I'll have to try Honeycrisp because yeah, I'm a basic peasant when it comes to apples. Like I'll eat just about any. I won't eat a green apple. Bless you. I ate green apples when I was a kid. I don't like a sour apple. I want a sweet apple.
Yeah, for me, it kind of depends on, I guess, the green apple. I think Granny Smiths are the ones that aren't great. A lot of people really like Granny Smiths. I'm not a fan of them. There's another type of green apple that I like, though. I can't remember what it's called, though.
Yeah,
I like apples because there's like kind of a scale of like mealy apples to crispy ones. I prefer crispier apples because which sucks because most of my front teeth are fake now, so I have to cut them and bite them with my molars because none of my teeth are durable enough to reliably bite into an apple without breaking anymore. But
I that's the thing is like I think my teeth like could do that, but I don't do that because like I who knows, at some point like my teeth will deteriorate like to a point where it will break off.
Yeah.
And I don't want to risk that, so I still just cut up my apples.
Yeah.
Like I can't, I haven't bit into an apple since like high school. Like it's that fear of that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's been a few years since I've been able to just straight up bite into an apple, but I used to eat them right off the core.
Yeah. But yeah, like I was never, I mean, like I ate the occasional berries here and there, but I was never like eating them regularly. But now like I wake up, I'm not wanting that microwavable breakfast burrito because I'm slightly kind of nauseous at the thought of it. But what I'm not nauseous at, blueberries and strawberries randomly.
Oh, heck yeah.
Something that like before I wasn't a big fan on. I rarely ate either of them. I was the guy who, whenever someone made a cake and on the cake they put the blueberries and the strawberries and stuff like that, I'd rake all that off and I'm like, I just want cake. Why are you trying to put this on here?
Yeah.
But
while you're trying to add all this extra healthy stuff onto my pastry,
I just want a pastry. Quit putting your fruit on it.
I just want it to be fruit flavored. I don't want actual fruit.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But no, it was just like a random thing. I just woke up one morning and like that's what I like want. And I'm also like not like I'm not starving myself by any means. I'm not as hungry as I like used to be.
Well, yeah, it's because the food you're eating has real substance to it now.
Yeah. That's a big thing. Is like I'm not as hungry. But I am still like feeling satisfied. I'm not because a big thing for me was just like eating to eat or eating out of boredom.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people face that in their lives.
Yeah.
Like
especially
at some point. Yeah. I was gonna say at some point in someone's life in America, you have faced that. I'm not saying you're at that point now, listener, but in your life, you have likely faced that.
Yeah, we'll come through and slap the Twinkies out of your mouth. And oh yeah, wake up, sheeple! Stop eating their chemical hypnotics that tell you to eat more so that you run out faster and then go out and buy more sooner.
And like junk food, even like I don't, it's not like a nauseous feel to it, but I'm not like I still have, and I'm going to keep them there because I want to push myself. There's still half a box of honey buns, half a box of Cosmos brownies from 2 or 3 weeks ago, sort of thing. That before I was like, oh my God, I love honey buns. I love cosmic brownies. But like now I don't even like crave it. Like
Oh,
it's just there.
dude, I think so. I got like a couple weeks ago, I got a box of Little Debbie Swiss rolls.
Yeah, yeah.
I think this one might be the camel that broke the straw's back. I said that in reverse by accident.
What'd you do?
Well, and I didn't do like anything.
Okay.
Like I still have the last pack of the rolls from that box sitting on my coffee table right now. But the
Yeah,
thing
yeah.
is, the last time I was in Walmart and I went past the Little Debbie section, I wasn't even looking for them, but I passed it and I looked at it and I thought about it and I was like, I almost gagged there in the aisle thinking about like even the potential of getting another box. And I wasn't even there for those. I just thought about it for a split second, like, do I need more Little Debbies? And then I thought of like, and I gagged and I was like, no, I think I'm done with those now.
Yeah, I've hit that point in my life before. I don't know, like this time, like it like legit is like different for me, where it's like I don't know. I just like, not saying I couldn't eat a honey bun or something. It's not like I'd like get nauseous at the thought of eating one, but I just don't crave it or think about eating it.
You don't want to take two honey buns and squeeze them together and motorboat them like you used to when you were a young
Like I
man.
used to. Oh, here's a story. I don't know if I've told you before. No, it
Oh my
doesn't go
God.
that way.
Why
But
why did that trigger a story?
it triggered a story because of how much I loved honey bun. I'm not. This isn't going. This isn't going rated R, listener. Okay, chill. Um.
I
Uh. So
was gonna
I
say
really.
I've read some of your scripts for Curbside and I know where things can go with food.
Yeah. Uh. When I was maybe, I mean, like when I was in elementary school and middle school, I like loved honey buns. And when I got older, I still liked them. I'd get them occasionally, sort of thing. But I loved honey buns back then. And I had a tendency, especially at that time with high metabolism as a little kid,
Yeah.
a tendency to just like, as soon as my parents bought a box of honey buns and they went out or went somewhere else. This is so funny. I would take the box. Also, we were talking about trauma before. There's likely some sort of trauma that I'm going to have to trace to why I did this. I'd take the box and I would, not all the time, but sometimes go to the bathroom, lock the door, and just start munching on honey buns. Like, eat as many as I can. Just chow down on honey buns. And then hide the evidence of it.
I thought you were gonna take it like a step further and say like, and then I would hot glue the box back together and put it back in the pan.
No. I think I hid the box before. I think I remember hiding the box, where it's like I have to have them just forget that honey buns were here. I can't go back and put a box of 1 or 2 honey buns in the thing, because then they're going to see it and they're going to be like, dang, obviously Brandon ate all these honey buns. No, I can't have them see the box, because then they're going to remember honey buns are there. I would hide the box somewhere. I'd hide it in my room. If there's like 1 or 2 honey buns left, I'd hide it in my room. I'd hide it in the bathroom closet. So that's something I have to trace. We were talking about trauma earlier. I got to figure out what was my obsession with honey buns back then. I'll figure that out, listener. But no, it was one of those things where like I loved honey buns.
Wow.
But now like I like, clearly, listener, you heard the story. That is a love for honey buns. That's an obsession for honey buns.
That's
But now Yeah. But now like I don't even like crave it. And
Yeah.
so I mentioned the food changes. I mentioned the walking daily. I'm also like reading slash listening to scripture more, as well as just listening to just people talk. It doesn't even have to be Christian
Yeah.
or anything spiritual, but like just genuinely listening to people talk.
One of my
Um,
something that I realized, one of my favorite things in the world is listening to just other people, not even talk to me, but like listening to other people talk in public. Um,
oh yeah, yeah.
there's a recent trip that I made to Publix, and literally the funniest thing in the world happened. I was just walking through like the cracker aisle, and just some random guy who I couldn't even describe to you from memory. That's how fleeting this moment was.
Yeah.
Some random guy comes up, passes right past me, stops and looks at like a section of the shelf that I just passed, and I just hear him mutter under his breath, "Son of a bitch," and just stare at the shelf. And I was like, that guy's not having a good day. And and it made my day. It
Ugh.
genuinely made my day to experience that moment.
Just staring at the crackers. Son of a bitch.
Yup, like I pass him, he didn't even acknowledge me, he didn't even look at me. I just hear this guy look at the cracker shell and just go, "Son of a bitch." What he's looking for was clearly not there. And
Yeah, yeah.
it was I loved it so much. It was that was like and it happened on a Sunday. I remember it happened specifically like on a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
Or maybe no, it was a Friday afternoon because I went there after work. But yeah,
And
it
something
was the funniest thing in the world.
and something like that is like so funny because it's so relatable. Like we've all had a day or been there with something to where like something minor like that
Yeah.
comes up in our day. Like the crackers that we wanted aren't there, and then we're like, son of a bitch. Like of all like
That's over the
everything
edge.
was stacking up today, and now I can't even get my crackers.
Yep. I can't even get my chocolate Milano cookies. Or whatever he was. I don't even remember what section of the shelf he was looking at. I just remember it was in the cracker aisle.
Oh yeah, yeah. Trying to
But
think of
yeah,
more
she's the best.
health changes. Um
Oh, excuse me.
or not just health changes, just like I've like
Positive
been
changes.
going yeah, like positive changes. That's a good way to put it. I've been going to like our Wednesday night class a lot more.
Ah,
Which it's this semester, I say semester, this like quarter kind of, because they have like someone a new series or whatever each like few weeks sort of thing. Um, this is like currently just learning new worship songs. That's what it is. It's just singing.
ah,
But like my faith before, for those that don't know, I'm a youth minister, but that by no means means like, oh, like he's like holier than that. No. Not at all. Not at all. Ministers and youth ministers like struggle with same sort of stuff. It might be different, but definitely have struggles as well. Um, for me, my faith, yeah, it's not that I didn't believe in God. It just got to like I was in autopilot.
yeah.
I was very much just like just going through the motions, just going through the routines. On the outside, people see, oh, the youth minister. He's a youth minister. Oh, he's like doing, it looks like he's doing all the right things. Inside, I don't feel that way at all. Like I literally was just on autopilot, going through the motions. I'm like not, I wasn't focused in like assembly or like church, basically, like when people meet in an auditorium. Um, I wasn't focused on like the singing. A lot of times, like I was quote unquote singing, but was I like listening to
Mm,
what I was singing? Was I actually like participating? No. I was in a state of just autopilot dullness, kind of.
You'll have to forgive me.
Wait, Russell.
I
No,
ca-
you're good. You're good.
I came up with a joke.
Yeah.
Was I listening to what I was singing? One day they replaced the entire praise and worship set with just all the songs from Jesus Christ Superstar, and I apparently soloed Gethsemane perfectly.
Was I listening to what I was singing? All of a sudden, I realized I've been singing the past 2 months, Waka Flocka and Lil Wayne. I had no idea till now that's what I've been singing the past 2 months.
I wasn't paying attention to what I was singing. Like out of nowhere, I just started belting the entirety of Alice in Chains' Dust album.
Yeah, but it was one of those things where I was just in
I
this
didn't notice until I was on Rooster. Rooster might be the first track of that album. I don't remember.
But yeah, it was like this, just like going through the motion sort of thing, and not like really feeling my faith or trying to improve my faith. And yeah, it was just this shakeup in my life of like God, like hey, like wake up, like here is what love is. And because of that, it then shifted my lifestyle and stuff. But then after that, and realizing like, oh, like, yes, I loved, but I was loving the wrong parts, sort of thing. And not prioritizing God over everything. But now seeing and like truly seeking that. But yeah, like I'm more alert. I'm more focused on people. I'm more open with people, with talking about stuff. Like literally like what we've been talking about this whole time.
Yeah.
A month ago, like I would have talked about some of this stuff. I feel like I was pretty open a month ago. Like it's a work in progress sort of thing. But let's say 6 months ago, that's actually a better thing.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have talked about most of what we've talked about.
Oh yeah, no.
But there was a thing of just like wanting to be more open, and just like it's the cliche thing of like stopping and smelling the roses. I think that's not the best way to put it, because it's more than that, but it is one of those things of like just being more observant and noticing things in my life, and noticing what is significant, as well as, hey, I've been putting a lot of stock into some insignificant things.
I think that's called. Now I'm not totally familiar with it, so don't like. I might be getting this wrong. I think that is called mindfulness.
Yeah.
I think that's what that is. I don't know. I've never been that aware of my own life, unfortunately. Like I've been getting there. I've been getting more aware of myself and my life as time has been going. But
we're all works in progress. It's just like again, like it's not by me doing anything by any stretch of the imagination. It literally was like, hey, like God did these events and placed this person in my life to kind of shake me up, like wake up sort of thing.
Yeah.
To where
wake
now,
me up inside.
Wake me up inside.
Wake me up inside.
To where I am like observing things, because another thing, I mentioned all these things, I am more observant of my family. I'm also more open with my family. Like I've always been open with my sister, but we've been even more open the past 2 weeks, in talking and discussing, and just like holy crap, like the 17-year-old yes, she's 17. Yeah, she looks like some people might see her as like, oh, she looks like she's 13. But she is like one of the wisest like 17-year-olds I've seen. Like, I'm very proud of my sister. And just like hearing her like truly talk and getting into like deep talks. We've gotten into deep talks before, but getting to like deep talks the past couple weeks.
Yeah.
As well as getting like a lot more open with family. My mom, my brother, my dad, like my grandparents. I was fairly open with one set of my grandparents, but not that open. And then the other set, not as open. But no, like I went to visit them a few days ago, and like we were just open conversation. I wasn't it wasn't like a trauma dump sort of thing. I've worked through stuff. It wasn't like, oh, grandma, like all this stuff is happening and stuff. It wasn't that at all. And it wasn't even like me talking about me the whole time.
Yeah.
It was just like we're just openly communicating, like for what seems like the first time, where there's there's no like worries or restrictions sort of thing.
Yeah.
And like it's been great. I've been a lot more open with friends in not only what I talk about, but also like hearing from them. That was part of why I was a little bit late here, was like I was talking with a buddy of mine, and like he's very, like, I've known him since high school. He both of us were this way, but he's very much this way. He's very closed off in terms of his emotions, just because it's the South. I'm not saying he's like a Southern boy, but like, you grow up in the South, your big thing you're seeing our society in the South is like, man up, like men don't cry, or that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it was very much that way where I grew up too. I think it's mostly towards like the West Coast, where you see a lot more like new age philosophies about emotions popping up.
Yeah, which I think is good. Like I know this part of the country, at least where we are, likes to bash that part of the country a lot. And there can be some things where there's disagreements, but there's one thing I do like about that side of the country is they're more progressed in speaking openly and about emotions than we are.
Yeah.
Like on average, like in terms of this side, which is a crucial thing in anyone's life, because like relationships, and I don't mean like boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife.
Yeah.
Communication, relationships with friends, relationships with coworkers, everything like revolves around communication. And if there can't be some level of openness in that communication, then it's just
Yeah.
It's just there.
Yeah, no, I definitely get that. Okay. Now this part I'm a little wary about getting into. It'll be fine though. I have words to get around.
If you want me to cut it, I can.
Okay, I'll let you know after the fact if I think I'm giving away too much information. There is like a person in my life who I've recently come to realize like they're just not someone I can be emotionally open around. And they're like, they're a regular part of my life. And just about everybody else, I feel like mostly comfortable and safe, just kind of like talking openly and being who I am. Like all my friends, my parents, my grandparents, like I feel pretty comfortable around you, like, though I guess you qualify as one of the friends, but you well, because sometimes my brain's like, Brandon's a colleague, he's a peer, and then like, well, also like just through recording these podcasts for like the past 5 years, he's turned into like one of your best friends. So it's like, yeah, okay, so he's a friend.
Yeah, like I don't even like see the, like, even from the beginning, like I've always seen the podcast as just like, this is me and Teo's hangout time. If people listen to it and get something out of it, cool. But
yeah, this is our come town.
yeah.
If you feel like you need to bleep that, go ahead. But
No, I'll keep it.
I know some people aren't comfortable with the title of that podcast, but
No.
But yeah, there's just, there's someone in my life who I've kind of realized, like, this person is going to be held at arm's length probably for the rest of their life, because they're definitely going to die before I do. No, I'm kidding. No, like, for the rest of our lives, this person's probably just going to be like, I'm just going to have to hold them further away. And be a little more closed around them. Fortunately, there's recently been a secondary person attached to them who's been introduced as a bit of a interactive buffer, where I can interact more with this other person associated with them. But yeah. But yeah, and it's, it can be hard realizing that, like, someone who's, kind of important to you in your life is someone that is just better not allowed getting super close.
Yeah. No, and like because that's the thing, is I mentioned openness and communication and stuff, and that is a crucial thing. But if someone else isn't at a point in their life where they can, I'm not saying anything about this person, I'm just mean in general, if they're not at a mature enough state to be open about that sort of stuff, or like keep stuff in confidentiality, if that person wants it in confidentiality, then you have to be wary on being open with those people.
Yeah. And for this person in particular, it's more about because, like, they don't, like, spread, like, confidential information or anything without consent or anything. It's more about the ability to be open around them. You know what I mean? Because they're very comfortable sharing their thoughts, too comfortable, which makes it unsafe to share your thoughts with them.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, because of because I have, like, people like that in my life where like you let's say you want to be open in the communication, but then, like, there's a chance they're going to say something that like it's like, hey, like, you can have your opinion, just maybe listen.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to agree with what I'm saying at all, but let's just hear each other out.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, that's a crucial thing. Like, I talked with someone a couple weeks ago. It was one of the artists I work with. Like, we're working on a project, and
we had a big punch up.
we it was me and 4 other artists, and we had our meeting, dealing with the comic and stuff, and
it was a knockdown drag out on the level of the Peter versus the giant chicken fights from Family Guy.
Yes. Yeah, we were going at it. Not in that way, people. The Family Guy way, the chicken fight way.
Yeah.
No. But everyone was logging off. We finished the meeting and stuff, saying goodbyes, that sort of stuff, had little chats. And then me and this one guy, this guy, he's I think 47, 48. Like, we stay after, and I've never like been alone in a chat with him, and it's just me and him talking, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But we started talking, and like the conversation got deeper and deeper, and we wound up talking for like 4+ hours. And it was just, it's that's another thing, is like regarding spiritual beliefs. We might not have the same spiritual beliefs or anything like that, but we have a connection, though. And a big part of that is like he does practice, like, spirituality. That doesn't mean Christian, that doesn't mean Muslim. It's more just spirituality as a whole, regarding different teachings and stuff. And the big connection being, and we, like, it wasn't no hostility at all between us. There might be one thing where I say this and he might not fully agree with it, or he says this and he might not fully agree with it, but by no means did we cut each other off. Nothing like that. We heard each other out, because that was the crucial thing, is like, hey, we're just hearing more perspectives of life. Like, that's what I love about podcasts and stuff, is like, especially if it's not like people who are Christian or stuff, just hearing everyone's perspectives on life.
Yeah.
Just because you're learning more about people, more about humans. You're not isolating yourself.
Yeah.
You're whatever you believe or don't believe, we are all on this rock floating through space.
Yeah.
And we're all trying to figure it out. That's a big commonality with everyone. Everyone has that common thing. We're all human on this rock floating in space, and we're just trying to figure things out, and we're just going through it. And when you see that, a lot of other stuff doesn't happen with everyone, but if you saw it as that, a lot of other stuff falls under, in terms of like differences we may have and stuff, because you see that big commonality. But that was basically, that was the thesis, I guess, of the 4-hour conversation we had. There was a lot more.
Yeah.
It boiled down to that, basically.
So it sounds like you had a very eventful 2 weeks.
Dude, these two weeks, like, I am very blessed for these 2 weeks.
Like, keep in mind, listeners, Brandon had this entire life-changing experience between recording
Episodes.
sessions.
Yes.
Like,
Which
the last episode you heard was recorded before Brandon like underwent this transformation.
Yeah. Like, I still need to post the pit stop. I still need to post that.
Yeah, I noticed that. I didn't want to say anything, but
yeah. It was just the past 2 weeks.
I'm kidding. I wouldn't have said anything anyway.
No, you're good. I'm at a place where like I actually can post it and stuff.
Yeah, whenever you go without like posting a thing, I always firstly, every time you post a thing, I'm like, oh, has it been a week already? And secondly, like when you don't post a thing, I just assume you're busy.
Yeah. Well, with this, it's like a genuine busyness. Before, it's like, oh, I got this thing to write, or I have this meeting or whatever, where it's like, sure, I'm busy, but like I could make time.
Well, not only were you busy in your personal life, you also had the end of the Kickstarter you had to deal with too.
That's another thing. I'm glad you bring that up. That deals with life stuff as well. My view on the Kickstarter as well completely shifted.
Oh,
that was one of the very first things that shifted in a good way.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, there's no 4th issue of the Gallows Man.
No, there's gonna be a 4th issue of the Gallows Man. No. There's
no one will ever get to see an apple a day.
Yeah. I'm not. Yeah. Gallows Man 4, you're still gonna see Gallows Man 4. Dismay Avenue number 3, still gonna see Dismay Avenue number 3. It's stuff that I've written that haven't like hired an artist yet, that I'll probably just store away. I'm not gonna like throw it away, but I'll store away and will likely never see the light of day, because it's like I don't believe in this sort of thing. I don't want to just put out something I don't like care about at all.
Yeah. And then like decades from now, after you've died, with all of your money surrounded by your giant mansion from all the money you made from being a big time comic book guy, they're gonna find the long lost scripts that you hid away in the doo-doo feces vault. Look, Brandon's doo-doo feces folder. We need to get artists to illustrate these and publish it posthumously.
And let's also, because it's now like 50 years later, let's also we have the technology to where we have holograms, but it actually looks like the real person. Let's do AI recorded hologram to make it look like one of his last things he said before he died. And let's have that video, and the video is like, before I die, I need all of y'all to read A Day at the Fair. I need you to read it
Yes.
in all these other writings. I
What-
need you to read it. And here it is. And my last dying breath is that my managers and my publicists, that they get this out there, and that my family gets no money from this, that they get all the money. I want my managers and my publicists to get all the money from this thing I think is the greatest thing I've ever made.
And then they're also
Okay.
going to use AI and CGI to make sure that they can keep using your likeness to make cameos in every single episode of the popular horror anthology TV series on Netflix, Dismay Avenue, based on the comic book of the series.
Yeah.
Where they ran out of comic book short stories to adapt into episodes in season 2, so they just had to keep coming up with original episodes, or just adapt short stories like the Twilight Zone and Love, Death, and Robots did.
Oh gosh. What a nice future this will be.
Yeah. Where you're not allowed to stop working even long after you're dead.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
Which is exactly what they are still trying to do with Stan Lee, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. They might have been that after people were like, that's ghoulish.
Well, even not the Stan Lee thing. The thing I see it the most in, and like just how like nasty it is music. I see it a lot in music of artists have unreleased stuff before they die.
Yeah.
Unreleased stuff, or I've seen this with some stuff. The studio just throw all of their songs into AI, not generator, but throw it all in there so the AI can process the speech patterns and the words of the person. And then, hey, we have new songs from this person post death. We have new songs from this person. And so they will live on forever, even though they are not the ones that made it.
Yeah.
It's very bleak and dim.
Speaking of which,
Yeah.
I think we've mentioned it on the podcast before. I occasionally will write songs and put them into an AI generated thing as like a poetry exercise.
That's different though.
Oh yeah, no. That's not why I bring it up. Because
Okay.
we know it's different. Because I'm keeping these for myself, and I'm like not publishing them or making money off of them. I'm keeping them for myself, and I share them with like select family members and friends who I know share enough of my sense of humor to find the songs funny.
Yeah.
Or like enough of the same kind of music to find the ones that I didn't write as jokes to be cool. But I recently wrote a song that, as I was putting it through the generator, accidentally turned into like a Beatles song. Not an existing one. It just sounded like a Beatles song.
Sound like the Beatles. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll send that to you when we're done recording today. It's called The Truth. I beg you, do not read the lyrics until you've listened through it once.
Okay.
Because it is definitely best for that one to catch you by surprise, like entirely.
Okay. Yeah, because I was about to ask like genre and stuff. I'm not even going to ask that. Yeah, I'll let it catch me by surprise.
But yeah, like it sounds like the Beatles to the extent that when I was adding the intro on, I included. I will spoil this bit because it's within the first like 15 seconds. You hear a voice yell, "Lay down a fat beat, Ringo," before the beat kicks in. Like it starts with a little piano, just like dun, 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 like kind of just going into it, and then you hear "Lay down a fat beat, Ringo," and then it like gets into like the drum beat with the guitar and everything. And so it worked out really well, in my opinion.
That's great. Yeah,
it's called The Truth, which is a very ominous title to give a Beatles
there's no
song.
telling where that can go.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. But
I also made a 15-minute progressive metal song about holding in your pee to watch a long movie.
I guess I don't think I've heard that one. I think the last one I remember hearing was the it was the girl who fell down the stairs.
Oh no, it was a dude
Or
who fell down the
it was a
stairs. Yes,
dude. It was a dude that
yes.
fell down the
He,
stairs.
he
Yeah,
had he needed a kidney stone, and
that's
yeah,
what it was. Yeah.
yeah. It's been a little while since I sent you one because that's one of my older ones. But like, I've got a few
Yeah.
good comedic ones. Like No Regrets, the one where the chorus is like, "We can't let Jimmy know that I banged his mom."
Oh yeah, I
I
remember you
wrote
sending that one.
I
Yeah.
wrote a sequel to it from the mom's perspective.
Oh, okay.
So I had to rename the first one to No Regrets parentheses his version, because the
Yeah.
sequel is No Regrets parentheses
Her version.
So
Okay.
if you listen to the two of them, they act as like two halves of two people hiding the fact that they slept with each other from Jimmy.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I haven't written any serious ones inspired by mythology or anything in a while. I wrote an emo song about a guy who becomes suicidally depressed after accidentally running over a squirrel. I wrote a gothic metal song about a child getting lost in the mall on Black Friday. So yeah, because like so one thing that I do, so okay, I'm gonna include, if there are any like AI comedy songwriters out there, I'm gonna actually give you some tips for writing really good, genuinely funny songs. Before we move on,
yeah.
so there's anyone out there who, so you'll notice a lot of AI comedy songs on YouTube these days rely really heavily on just like being, oh excuse me, it's a McDonald's, being vulgar just to like be funny because it's a lot of swears, or like be so absurd as to be like completely asinine, or like I glued my balls to my butthole again got really popular, which that's a good song. I love that song. Rubbing and Tugging My Nips is a great song too. I love that one. But like at the same time, they're relying really heavily on like the idea that you're making the computer say a bunch of funny sex words and swears. Which for me, I rely on that a little bit with a song that I wrote called Midnight Missteps that I sent to Brandon, which was a punk song about a guy waking up in the middle of the night to go pee, stubbing his toe, learning he has a kidney stone, and then falling down the stairs. But for me, like I made sure to place those curse words perfectly so that they fit with exactly what was happening in the song. I'm not a huge fan of, if you're going to include curses for comedy, you gotta get that right.
Yeah, there's got to be a purpose. There's got to be, I mean, it regarding like placement. It can't just be like willy nilly. It's just there sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, like it's gotta match like a consistent speech pattern, and it's gotta match
Yeah.
like what would someone who actually just stubbed their toe in the middle of the night be screaming?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then learning they have a kidney stone immediately after, and then falling down the stairs and breaking all their bones. So for me though, if you're going to write a comedy song, first think really hard about the conventions of the genre you're writing the song for. What genre of music is your comedy song falling into? I'll give an example.
Yeah.
I'm a fan of gothic metal. It's not like as intense as it sounds. It's kind of an offshoot of black metal, I think. But like with less directly satanic undertones. But yeah, it's a very dark type of metal, with like this very like wall of sound, drums and guitars sort of thing. Like it tends to be very like pervasive with like how aggressive the sound is, with occasional breaks for like a more symphonic, like orchestral sort of tone to come in usually. So I wrote one about a child on Black Friday shopping with their mom and then losing their grip on her hand and getting lost in the mall, because I thought that would be a funny topic for such an aggressive musical
Yeah.
genre.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, And so something that I realized as I was writing it is I was really, and this is the song that really made me realize what my natural inclination for all of these things was. And that is, I really like playing with the conventions of the genre to make something funny. Because Gothic metal often incorporates themes of loss and longing. It's a very sad and melancholy genre of music when you get past the like dark guttural screaming and loud guitars and drums.
Right.
Um, so playing on that, playing on the melancholy of losing someone or being lost, playing on the sadness and the anxiety that comes with that to illustrate this picture of a child lost on one of the most chaotic and aggressive days in American, like the American commercial year.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
It's chaos.
yeah, exactly. Like I started the song with the lines, you can't just leave me here left like oh, what is it? You can't just leave me here. I won't be left to suffer alone amongst these beasts. Which like starting a gothic metal song like that sounds like just a normal metal song, but then it gets
Yeah.
into the first verse and it says, we arrive at the mall, time for Black Friday shopping, and immediately you're like, oh, I know what this song is going to be now. But like it's but yeah, it's so like playing around with genre, like really, if you want to write a good comedy song, really make sure you know what your genre sounds like so that you can
Yeah,
play
yeah.
around with its conventions and come up with unorthodox scenarios and situations to have sung about.
Oh,
Like
yeah, yeah.
for example, I wrote like an early 2000s punk song called No Regrets, that I sent to Brandon a few months ago. And I really wanted to play on that early 2000s, my friend's mom is kind of hot sort of sound, like think like Stacy's mom, that sort of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and like really like dial that up to what's the natural conclusion of that? Well, obviously I have to bang my friend's mom. Um, so, and that leads to, you know, this whole song about how the singer feels conflicted that he has slept with his friend Jimmy's mother, but things are getting serious between them, and now he's seriously considering a relationship with this older woman. And like that's the premise of the song.
Yeah.
That like it turns into more than just the MILF fantasy, and it's like, oh, I actually genuinely like her and want to pursue a relationship with her. And like for the sequel that I wrote, No Regrets, her version, it's from her perspective, she was just kind of feeling bored and lonely since her husband left. Her husband, who in retrospect she hates because he didn't treat her properly, and so now she's got this younger guy who appreciates her for like who and what she is, and she, you know, but the problem is it's her son Jimmy's friend.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
So that's like the premise behind her version. So it's like, even if you're going to write songs that are connected to each other thematically, like think about that, because one of the, this is going to sound a little weird, but one of like the core things that really makes comedy hit, one of the best things about comedy is if you can make it consistent.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't have to follow real world rules as long as you come up with a set of rules that works for the joke you're telling and stick to
Yeah.
them.
Yeah. Yeah. There's got to be some sort of rules slash boundaries regarding like having it work. Because if it is just, I mean, like I guess you can have rules with everything goes slash ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's like there's rules there because the rules are like everything goes.
Yeah.
That's like it's meant to be all over the place or whatever.
Yeah.
But setting something like
Yeah.
like so that it stays, like Teo said, consistent.
Yeah, because even the best absurdist comedies, especially the best absurdist comedies, still have some universal rules. Take Smiling
Yeah.
Friends, for example. Smiling Friends still has rules in place. Like, let's look at the Frowning Friends episode real quick. there are at least 2 instances in that episode where someone draws a gun on Charlie and Pym. Now, this show is ridiculous. It is cartoony. It is off the wall. But something that is still understood is that a gun is threatening.
Yeah.
And like life threatening. It's not I shoot you in the face and then your face turns black like in Looney Tunes. It's like that gun can hurt them. So like, even though the situations they're in are ridiculous, the introduction of a gun as a threat is something that still grounds the situation.
Yeah.
And that's just like one example. That's a really extreme example, but I think that's a good one for like an absurdist comedy.
Oh yeah. Like I'm trying to think of examples, but like I think You Should Leave has there's a lot of absurdist comedy with I Think You Should Leave.
Yeah.
But it stays consistent with each skit. And I might not love every skit. I don't love every skit in that, but at the very least, each skit stays pretty consistent.
One thing that I like about I Think You Should Leave is the fact that it's almost the reverse of something like Smiling Friends, where Smiling Friends is a few grounding elements in an absurd world. Well, I Think You Should Leave is a grounded world with some absurd elements in it.
Yeah.
Where like every situation has that one guy who makes everything extremely awkward.
Yeah. Yeah. Like this isn't even because you were mentioning the songs earlier and comedy songs. This isn't even like one of my favorite I Think You Should Leave sketches, but the one where it's the
is it the Johnny Cash one?
Yeah, it's the Johnny Cash one. Where they're recording this song and it's basically a Old West type song and they're trying to get signed on the label, and you have the guy he's singing like, and I went into the saloon and there was she, and then Tim Robinson's character jumping in like, and the skeletons rose up,
the worms are their money. That's the night the skeletons came to life. And then at the end, the guy's like, all right, Johnny, I think we're going to do some. It's like, oh, your name Johnny too? It's like, no, I'm not. That's why I was so confused.
So confused.
That is a good one. That's one of those ones where, like, the first time I watched I Think You Should Leave, I thought back specifically to that skit and thought, maybe that show isn't that funny. But then, like, the second time I watched the show, for some reason, it really sunk in. I was like, oh, this is way, way better than I remember.
Yeah.
Like, something about it was just like, everything about I Think You Should Leave clicked with me way harder on my second viewing than my first, because I watched it all the way through once when there was only one season and thought, like, this is dumb and I don't think I'll ever watch this again. But then season 2 came out and I thought to myself, like, oh, I remember chuckling at a couple of skits. Maybe I'll, give it another shot. And before watching season 2, I rewatched all of season 1 and I was like, oh no, this is like genius.
The first episode is near perfection to me.
Oh my God, it is. Yes.
Because I rewatched a few of the episodes the past week or so. And the first episode was one of those. And it's like we've quoted a lot of these episodes or these skits from the first episode. It has the very first thing is the pull or push door. Like,
it does both.
It does both. It's just ripping it off to get it to pull. There's that. Then there's the baby pageant thing, the American Idol baby pageant thing, which is still one of my favorite ones because
oh my gosh,
I love quoting it with my sister. Of like, I hope you beep and die, Harley Jarvis.
Die, Harley Jarvis. I quoted that to my family recently, hoping my sister would get it because she also likes I Think You Should Leave, which is such a shock to me because it's absolutely not up her alley.
Yeah.
But like I mean, humor is one of the few things she and I have kind of gotten along on over the years. But at the same time, I thought that was going to be one of those ones that was a bridge too far for her. So I'm so shocked that she liked that when I first found out that it's a show she had watched. But I quoted like, "Oh, we got a certified chode on our hands" when my sister was going over.
Tuna can.
Yeah, when my sister was going over my niece's like dimensions, like her height and weight. Because there've been recent doctor visits and stuff that you need to do with when your baby's still growing, but just to make sure that like she's on track and everything. But my sister mentioned that she's a little higher on the chub scale than she is on the long scale. So I was like, we got a certified chode on her hands, and I was really hoping she would get it. I think she might have, but I don't know. She didn't respond to it the way I expected.
That's great though. That's fine. It'd be funny either way.
Yeah.
But that's there's that. Then it's like and now the whole post-mortem section.
In memoriams don't usually include how they die. Shut up. What? They're all old. They don't stay babies forever, idiot.
Little Tabby Pinkins. That pancake by dump truck.
God, I love the soundtrack to that show too.
Oh yeah. Baby, 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 baby. Baby, baby. Yeah, like then that same episode.
The patterns, the shirts are expensive because the patterns are so complicated.
That same first episode also had the girls at lunch, and they're like,
yeah.
Then it's the one girl.
Slurping down pig dicks
with these fat cows. I can't remember what. I think the Steven Yeun one was also at. I think that was the last sketch.
That was the finale of the first episode.
Yeah,
should have had such a sloppy mud
pie.
Nobody likes your house anyway.
So you wouldn't mind if I ate it, right? If you like the gift, you wouldn't mind if I ate the receipt, right?
Yeah, I guess.
And then as it progresses, the couple is like, let my wife eat the beeping receipt. All right.
All right. I washed my hands earlier.
I'm applying hand sanitizer now. I washed my hands earlier.
Nothing. Don't you touch that receipt. Don't let him touch it.
So dumb. There was one. Oh man, I'm trying to remember what the sketch was.
My favorite bit of that whole skit is when like the wife is coming out with the cake. Happy birthday to no!
Slap the cake down.
Slamming it to the ground.
Yeah.
Let's go, guys. This place is covered top to bottom in shit.
Yeah, then just ends with he dies in the car.
I just didn't want to use too much paper towel. Now everybody's going to be partying at my place.
And your wife, she kissed me on the cheek earlier tonight. So stupid. I'm trying to remember.
It's such a great.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah.
Like you could show just that skit to someone.
I didn't appreciate it as much the first time I saw it. This skit that I'm fixing to mention, but I guess it's like a two-parter. But I like it a lot more now. The Santa Claus playing the action hero thing.
Yes.
It's so stupid, but I love it.
It's just cosmic gumbo.
Me and Ted, we talked a lot about that, about how it's a cosmic gumbo of it coming together.
That dude in particular is so funny. Like the Shirt Brothers skit in the 3rd season.
Yeah.
The song said there's no rules. Is that true? Is there really no rules? I'm in trouble, Shirt Brother.
Oh
gosh. Has this ever happened to you?
Oh yeah, I think that was either maybe that was no.
I think that was the first episode.
Okay, it was then, because I was trying to think if it was or not. You're right. Yeah.
Has this ever happened to you? Is one of my all-time favorite skits from I Think You Should Leave.
That's great. And
because he's not even advertising anything. He's just asking, has this ever happened to you? If so, call the number. It's like it's not for a lawyer. Or
it's the 2 minutes of the insane scenario, and then it's like, call me today.
Has this ever happened to you? You notice that your toilet hole had shrunk, so it's only big enough for farts to go through.
And then they run through, and then you jump on the couch and you start jumping and say, no,
you don't run with us. You're not part of the Turbo team. You don't run. You walk slowly.
And then they go to your bathroom, and you go in there, or they call you in, and they're complaining about their foot being stuck in the toilet, and then they pull the foot out of the toilet. They were just playing a prank on you.
They get real serious and say it's turbo time. You see
Call me right now.
You see a receipt in your garbage can for a toilet that only has a hole big enough for farts? The rest of this episode is just going to turn into I Think You Should Leave quotes. So
yeah.
I'm going to segue. Speaking of ridiculous things, everybody.
Yes.
I've got a couple things to talk about. One is I'll start with this. So I got my cousin / coworker. I lent him some Valiant comics.
Nice.
Yeah, finally getting someone else in on the Valiant train, because we've been talking about comic books a lot. You know, how specifically about how like overwhelming and inaccessible Marvel and DC both tend to be.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, Valiant markets itself almost exclusively on accessibility.
Have I got the world for you, sir?
Exactly. So I started him on Harbinger and Bloodshot, because those seemed like the two that he was most interested in.
Yeah.
But I started with the first 3 volumes of each, plus the Harbinger Wars crossover, since that coincides with the 3rd volumes of Bloodshot and Harbinger. But yeah, so it's been a little slow going with the reading so far. He's only about a chapter and like last I asked, he was only a chapter and a half in on Harbinger. So it's like okay. But yeah, so he's been reading. So he hasn't even gotten to the part where like the big reveal happens with Harada.
Yeah.
Which I gave you those Harbinger hardcovers, right?
Yeah. I read all of it. Yeah, Harbinger.
Wait, did I lend them to you or give them to you? I don't remember. Because I don't have them anymore. I think I gave them to you.
Let me look. They're still down here. I can always give them back.
No, I don't want them back.
It's Harbinger, gross.
Yeah. I have the soft covers that have all those issues anyway. But
okay, I got
no, I don't need those back. That's why I was trying to remember. I think one of the reasons I gave them to you, other than the fact that I knew you were probably the only person who would appreciate them at the time, but was also the fact that I was intending to replace them with soft covers anyway.
Oh, I gotcha. Yeah, I remember shortly after you gave them to me, reading them. I think I had texted you about it, or we had talked about it or something. But it was great.
Yeah, Harbinger is one of Valiant's best, especially that first series. I haven't read any of the sequels yet, but I, fully intend to. It's been a couple of years since I've been able to consistently get comics on my shelf, but now that I'm working a much more secure job, I'm thinking that I'm going to start rounding out my Valiant collection, which because of the pandemic is going to be a lot easier to do.
Yeah. Well, did you see that the resurgence this year?
I'm sorry. Oh yeah. There's the whole a new Unity series. There's a Ninjak versus Roku series that I think has been going for a bit. I think
Shadow Man.
Yeah, a new Shadow Man, and I saw that Flamingo came back to life, which is shocking because I thought dead meant dead in Valiant. Like usually for Valiant, death is pretty permanent. So it's a little weird that they would, but you know they're trying to bring things back. Bringing back like an old favorite character is kind of a good way to get people on board.
Yeah,
and well, especially if you're and like Flamingo was like one of the only really high profile deaths from like early Valiant anyway.
As well as like where Valiant was a few years ago, like I haven't even read any of the stuff, but literally any Valiant is good Valiant. That's how I see it. Because like literally a few years ago, it was one series and one issue of that series coming out a month.
Yeah, no, I've been talking to my coworker / cousin about about that. Like I told him, like, yeah, Valiant got to the point where they were only publishing one issue a month. And he asked like per series. I was like, no, one issue series. As a company.
They would do like a mini series for like 6 months maybe, and then another mini series, one issue per month.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it was really, really, really rough for a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, apparently Valiant is starting to do more like mature readers content. Like I've heard they're apparently allowed to be more vulgar and have some nudity in it now. So I'll be interested to see where that goes, I guess.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah.
Ooh. I know. And it's maybe it's no coincidence that coincides with Flamingo being brought back to life.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, let's revive this long dead character just so we can see her naked.
That's the whole reason we have this whole rated M side to us now.
Yeah,
just so we can show her off.
Yeah, just so we can show Chris and Flamingo getting steamy with each other.
Yeah, I might. I mean, I'm going to hold off on jumping on the new stuff just because I want to read some of the old stuff. I still need to read Archer and Armstrong. I want to read all of Quantum and Woody. I've only read the first volume.
Dude, Archer and Armstrong and Quantum and Woody are two of the best picks you can go for. Okay, so here's the thing. All right, let me look at my shelf real quick. So right after volume 6 of Archer and Armstrong and volume 3 of Quantum and Woody, you're going to want to get the Delinquents crossover.
Okay.
Because that's Archer and Armstrong and Quantum and Woody as a big 4-man group for 4 issues.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it's fantastic too, because it's, as you can imagine, super funny.
Yeah.
Because Archer and Armstrong is a funny series, and Quantum and Woody's a really funny series. So it's, but they're both funny with heart.
Right.
But yeah, no, but like I got my cousin started on some Valiant stuff, and I told him like, today I realized that if he wants to continue either of the series that I started him off on, I realized that I'm probably going to have to get him reading other stuff from Valiant to get some context for what happens next.
You didn't give him any beginning and end miniseries stuff?
No. Like it's just the first 3 volumes of Harbinger and Bloodshot and Harbinger Wars. Just to get him started. I wanted to get him like with one full crossover saga kind of under his belt first.
Has he read comics before?
Yeah, he's pretty familiar with like Marvel and DC in general. He reads
Okay.
a lot more manga than American stuff these
Okay,
days.
okay.
Kind of like
So
you and I do at this point.
so he'll be more open to the long form of it, sort of thing. Okay.
Oh yeah, definitely. But yeah,
That's
I've described the basic gists of Exo Manowar and Archer and Armstrong to him as well, so he kind of knows what's up with them.
yeah.
But yeah, like I've talked Valiant up to him a good bit, and I'm hoping that it lives up to the way I describe it, because I gave him my usual pitch of Valiant is like the RC Cola to Marvel and DC's Pepsi and Coke, less popular but objectively better.
Yeah. It's good quality.
Yeah. But yeah, because I realized that after Harbinger Wars, because I told him, like, when Valiant characters cross over with each other, it's not like Marvel and DC where they cross over and then get back to what they were already doing. When Valiant
it
characters
has an effect.
Yeah, when Valiant characters cross over with each other, it permanently changes the directions their stories are taking, which is another thing that he finds, more engaging. He's all for like stories that actually make progress and don't settle into a status quo. If I had to say anything about Valiant, it's that they never let their characters settle into a status quo, which sometimes feels a little detrimental to the way the stories are told, but overall I think it's a positive.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it made me realize he's going to reach a point where, like, if he wants to keep reading Bloodshot, for example, that's going to require some Archer and Armstrong. And Archer and Armstrong, well, he's already benefiting from the context that Harbinger provides to that one, actually. But but then also certain aspects of Harbinger require some context from Unity, but Unity doesn't make a whole lot of sense without Exo Manowar. And then, like, the way Valiant works, like, it just kind of keeps spiraling outward from there, where it's like, oh, and there's so much to all of this, where it's like, I'm just gonna have to have him read the whole thing.
But it's good that, like, that at the very least he's used to reading manga and stuff, which is like dozens, hundreds of chapters, sort of thing. So he's used to the long run of things, because like that's a big thing where I've like tried / like got people into comics before, but they didn't read manga. They never really read a comic to where I had to start out with was like mini series, and I usually didn't start out with like Marvel or DC. It was like let's go to some indie stuff, so that you realize at the very least what I want you to get out of this is comics is not just superheroes. And I'm not saying there's anything bad with superheroes. Some of my favorite comics are superhero comics, but a lot of people who are getting into it for the first time are just turned off by that word of super, because they think it's going to be kiddie. They think it's going to be like for kids sort of thing. It's not, but I don't want to deter them from getting into comics by being like, hey, here's this let me look. Here's this character called Mr. Miracle. Here you go. It's a guy named Tom King you know nothing about. Here you go.
Yeah.
He's a superhero. Even though, like, which Mr. Miracle, I think anyone could jump into. I don't know. You'll get something out of it if you've never read a comic before, but I think you'll get more out of it if you are a little bit more into comics.
That's one of the reasons that I wanted to kind of recommend like Valiant to him, because we've talked enough about both like the positives and negatives of Marvel and DC at this point, and like he and I have both like kind of discussed our frustrations with like the way that they both generally tend to stagnate. So like I was thinking like, hey, there is a shared superhero universe that doesn't sit still. And also it's like he's also super into like gray morality and like more like grounded sorts of settings and things like that, even for superhero stuff.
Yeah.
Like his favorite TV show is The Sopranos, specifically because like the characters are a lot more morally like not all there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like he likes stuff like that. Like he keeps up with The Boys TV show, that sort of thing. So I was like, okay, well, Valiant, well, it's not quite as like gray as those. It's, you know, a little more in the middle. Like it's not as like morally absolute as Marvel and DC like to be.
Right.
Valiant operates in more gray spaces. Like, yeah, Exo Manowar is a hero in the sense that he's the main character of the book, but like he's still the prince of an ancient warrior culture.
Right.
And he carries that culture with him. So that's something where it's like, where's the line there? Like what he is doing is morally right to the people he comes from, but what about the rest of the world? And then there's like, you know, Bloodshot, who was programmed to robotically do whatever he was told to do, and then breaks away from that eventually. And he makes a lot of decisions and mistakes trying to get away from who he was. But in the end, like he's still focused on like defying his creators. It's like it comes down to, does Bloodshot have the capacity to be more than a weapon, to be more than he was created to be? And like, what does it mean to like be made to be a weapon? You know what I mean? And like, I don't know, it's Bloodshot's pretty, like, it can be a little complicated. Like his whole life is mostly about like just trying to get away from it.
Yeah.
And like with Harbinger, there's, you know, that whole thing where like Toyo Harada is like, he's going to save the world whether they like it or not. And
yeah,
like world peace by any means is kind of his MO. And it makes you wonder, like, okay, he wants great things. But like, you have to ask if the way he's doing it is worth the, like, is the end justifying the means? And then you look at Peter, his opposite, who is someone who has been directly hurt by Harada and wants to take him down, which might be morally right given the way Harada operates. But at the same time, Harada is absolutely capable of bringing world peace, and Peter stands in the way of that.
Yeah.
So even though Harada is a villain and it might be right to take him down, is that for the best, given what Harada is capable of achieving? It's so, like, Harbinger is so fantastic as far as like those ethical dilemmas go. Now I want to reread it. And not only do I want to reread Harbinger, I want to like get the rest of the Harbinger titles, like Harbinger Renegade and Generation Zero and the rest of the Faith solo series, and read through all of the Harbinger stuff, because it's just Livewire and Secret Weapons and Harbinger Wars 2. There's so much that I missed and I need to catch up. Anyway, so that was the first thing that I had, was I got someone else on the Valiant train.
Nice.
Choo choo. Choo choo, mother slappers.
Yes, now Valiant can possibly thrive again. One, in having been somewhat bought out and they're able to have new books again. But Teo is also planting seeds for the new audience to come in.
That's not a great way to put that for Valiant fans, because then that makes me sound like one of the aliens. The Vine are the aliens that kidnapped Auric from ancient Rome and took him on their spaceship, and that's where he got the Exo Manowar armor and all that. And they left like, I think they called them seedlings behind, which was like their own vine babies that were injected with something to make them appear human, and then like the descendants of those seedlings are like operating in positions of power across the planet, and they communicate through a hive mind to help keep Earth vulnerable for potential vine invasion in the future.
Well, that's what you can be, listener. You can be a rich and powerful person across the world, but you're a part of a hive mind. That's what happens when you read Valiant.
Yeah, I found it funny that you picked like a phrase, like a way of phrasing things that specifically sounded like one of the bad guys from Valiant Comics. Because yeah, if you start with Exo Manowar, which is advised, Exo Manowar is not only one of the best series and like Valiant's flagship title, but also it's what they started their relaunch with was Exo Manowar #1 from 2012. But yeah, if you read Exo Manowar first, the first like proper villains you'll encounter are the alien species known as the Vine.
Nice.
And it takes a full 4 issues for that origin story to play out. But it's good. It's worth the page space. It's worth the read.
Nice.
That's one thing that I like about Valiant is like it also like when it does start a series, it takes its time on that origin. And like, cause like, and it's also not annoying to have that too, because these are not characters whose origins we've seen a million times over. You know, like we haven't seen them reinterpreted and iterated on in TV show after movie, after cartoon, after comic. Like it's something where it's like, no, like the Valiant characters are still like, yeah, they're over 30 years old at this point, really, but like they're still, as far as most people are concerned, fresh enough that like we haven't been bludgeoned to death by their origin stories. So taking 4 to 5 issues at the beginning of the series to really get into the beginning of the story isn't something that's going to annoy you.
Right.
It's not like you have to watch Spider-Man's origin play out over 6 issues. Like, could you imagine if they did like another like alternate universe Spider-Man thing, similar to like the Ultimate Universe or something, where like you gotta watch Peter Parker's origin for like 6 issues again?
Yeah, at that point it's like there's no art to it.
Yeah.
Literally like hey,
there's literally nothing new to do with it.
Yeah, we're just doing the same thing again, slapping a new title on. Maybe we'll see if we have the energy to do that.
Yeah, Scrumbompulous Spider-Man.
Yeah, we'll put that out there, and because we know that there will be at least 10,000 copies sold. At least it's Spider-Man. We know it'll be about 50,000 or more.
Yeah.
But even once we get to like issue 6, the end, we know at least 10,000 copies will sell.
I mean,
and
the current run of Amazing Spider-Man still sells like crazy, and everybody hates it.
Everyone hates it.
Everybody hates Amazing Spider-Man right now.
Yeah, I haven't heard anyone talk good about Zeb Wells' Spider-Man. I haven't read it, so I can't say anything about it. But everyone I know that's reading it does not like it. Even the positive people, they don't dislike it, but they see it as like, yeah, it was better.
I'm just mad that they undid everything Nick Spencer was doing to try and get things back to normal.
Yeah.
That's what I'm mad about
as well.
Like Nick Spencer was trying so hard to get Spider-Man back where he should have been 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And then I don't even blame Wells for this. This absolutely
the higher up editor.
This reeks of editorial.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yeah, so I don't even really blame Wells for his run. I believe he's a writer doing his best.
Yeah.
As I believe of all of them. I believe they're all just writers doing their
Yeah.
best.
Yeah.
I don't know why fans, target these writers as like, you're ruining this thing I like. It's like,
Like,
no, this is very like, firstly, they all have editors. They all have people who
yeah.
approve this stuff. They're not just blindly publishing it like, oh, he got his script in on time to put it through the press. No, they have editors looking at this stuff and approving things, giving them notes, telling them what should or should not be working. Like there are people looking at this stuff other than the writers and the artists.
Yeah, I think the thing that you can truly criticize a writer or artist on is if it's like an indie project, like
Yeah.
Image, Boom, or not even those.
Yeah.
That's something you can truly like look at and criticize if you want, just because that almost definitely this is their vision. This is the story they wanted to tell. This is exactly how they wanted it to look. All that sort of stuff. When it comes to Marvel and DC stuff, especially Spider-Man, there's a number of guidelines and rules you have to follow, as well as, hey, you have this editor, or sometimes it's higher up. It's like, hey, like this person above all of these editors, the person that like isn't even in the comic landscape. He's not even helping us make these comics, but he's saying like, hey, our merchandise and our movies, like you need to make sure you don't shake anything up. Yes, you're a little baby. This is my one time coming down here once a year to Marvel Comics. You guys are nothing to me.
Yeah.
But I do want to make sure, don't shake anything up or I will dissolve all of this. Because we do not, this is the higher ups thinking. I don't believe this, Brandon. The higher ups are thinking, we do not need Marvel Comics.
Yeah.
We have Marvel Studios now.
You
do not need you guys.
You are all a bunch of hillbillies. I live in a penthouse. You live on a farm with cows and pigs.
Yeah. So it's important to keep that in mind, like Teo said, with Marvel or DC writers, if they're writing a Marvel or DC book, because
there's someone above those writers and artists looking at what they're doing and approving it. So like you cannot put like, sure, the core of each idea might lie in the writer's head, but at the same time, like they're, especially when it comes to something like Spider-Man, like there's so much editorial meddling in the 90s and early 2000s with Spider-Man. I have a hard time believing that anything that the fans hate is the writer's fault.
No,
like the writers for Spider-Man want him to be happy as much as we do at this point.
Yeah.
like I said, like Nick Spencer's run was getting things back on track after over a decade of things having been screwed up after Civil War. And then, like, as much as I like Dan Slott, I like Dan Slott's run on Spider-Man mostly because Dan Slott really likes Dr. Octopus, and so do I. But it's obvious that Dr. Octopus is Dan Slott's favorite villain too.
I mean, he made a whole series where it's Dr. Octopus as Spider-Man.
Yeah, exactly. Which is one of my favorite Spider-Man runs in general.
Yeah,
I love.
It's not a mini series or anything. It is a long series. It's
it was an ongoing that ran for 32 regular issues and I think 4 annuals. It was beautiful. But and it was like the flagship Spider-Man title for like 4 years. But but the thing is, Dan Slott came in at a time where Marvel was like, do not let Spider-Man be a married dad.
Yeah.
Keep him eternally a bachelor. And it's like, why? It's like it should really be kind of teaching Marvel a lesson right now that Ultimate Spider-Man, the current run, where he's married and has 2 kids, is getting rave reviews and everybody loves it. And their flagship Amazing Spider-Man title where things are currently being once again dismantled, is being absolutely flogged in the square. Like, we as a community have put Amazing Spider-Man in the stocks and begun whipping its back with canes and cat o' nine tails.
Oh gosh.
Shame on Marvel. Shame on Disney.
Marvel editorial, and yeah, really Disney. That's really where you gotta look at.
Yeah, shame. Anyway, my next thing. I hope I have the battery life for this. My next thing is Milestone 6, everybody. Six. Milestone 6, everybody. Manga study time. If are you all right with that, Brandon?
Could we possibly do it on another date?
Sure.
I want to.
Yeah.
I do want to do it, but I want to like be all in for it.
Yeah, I just looked at the time when I said that, which is why I asked if it was okay. Otherwise, I would have just started in on it.
Yeah. I didn't want to like because I do want to hear it.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to like my brain be in and out from late night mush.
Yeah.
Not that it's that late, but also another thing is like my sleep schedule has got back on track. So so now brain goes to mush earlier in the night.
Yeah, I was just because looking at the time, I realized like, ooh, it's almost 9 o'clock as we are recording this. We started recording late, everybody, but
yeah, that was me.
Yeah, it was Brandon's fault. Throw
yes.
rotten fruit at him.
Yes, throw. Hey, maybe throw at least a couple fresh blueberries and strawberries or something.
But don't let him know which ones are the fresh ones, so he holds his mouth open for all of them.
Yeah, I'll find out. I'll take it all, like the fruit whore I am.
Fruit whore. But yeah, so Milestone 6. Well then, at this rate, I might have 2 straight milestones ready by our next recording session.
Ooh.
Now, let's not get our hopes quite that high up because I am still in my Saint Seiya chapters for Milestone 7 right now.
And
that's, yeah, I might do a little bit of reading of that tonight just to get it out of the way. And then, because the thing is, my breaks at work are perfect for reading through the stuff. Like I get through like a title a day for my 5 chapters at a time thing.
I love how you phrased that just a second ago of I might read some tonight just to get it out of the way. That's a good way to describe reading Saint Seiya.
Yeah.
if you're trying to do a manga study, it's just like I might read some just to get it out of the way.
I'm over a quarter through the series. I have to be strong.
It's a true test of resilience.
It's 111 chapters. When I'm done with the Milestone 7 stretch, I'll be 35 chapters in. Oh, okay. Well, then here's what I'll do instead of the actual manga study. I'll go over the new method that I'm going to use for increasing my pace, because I realized that the other method that I had decided on once I get to it is still going to be kind of slow in the long run. Even though I'm reading at the same amount of chapters every time, it'll feel slower to do it the other way I wanted to do it. So here's what I'm going to do. Instead of increasing the pace of just whatever the oldest series on my list is, every time I finish a series, which the first one will be Saint Seiya again, I'm going to increase the pace of whatever the shortest finished series on my list is by however many chapters I need to make up to make 100. Okay. So on Milestone, I think it's going to be Milestone 23, I only have the final chapter of Saint Seiya to read for that one. It's going to be chapter 111, the finale of the series. Yes, I have thought about this a lot. So let me look at my notes real quick. When that time comes, I am going to make up the 4 unread chapters by reading 9 total chapters for that specific milestone of Claymore.
Okay.
So instead of chapters 111 to 115 of Claymore, it's going to be 111 to 119 of Claymore. And then Claymore will maintain a pace of 10 chapters per milestone at that pace.
Yeah.
But Claymore is only 155 chapters long, which means that the series will already be nearly finished once I'm only a few more milestones in.
Right.
So the next one to inherit an increased pace would be Mashal, but I think I might try to distribute it evenly so that I'm not just like reading a ton of Mashal every cycle and then only 5 chapters of everything else. Because then that would be 15 chapters of Mashal every time I go through, and then. But we'll see. We'll see how I decide to do it.
Yeah.
Because eventually, this entire thing inevitably will just turn into 100 chapters of One Piece at a time.
Yeah. Which hopefully Teo is still sane by then.
Yeah. Well, Saint Seiya will be long in the rear view by that point, so
That's true. Yeah, Saint Seiya, like once he hits that marker, I think Teo's going to treat himself. He's going to go get hibachi or something. Like that's a day of celebration.
Oh yeah, like once we record landmark number 1, which is going to be the Saint Seiya finale, where we get out of the car, we take pictures next to the biggest ball of twine in Minnesota or whatever landmark we stop by, and then we get back in the car and keep driving because we're on a family road trip. That's the metaphor.
Never look back at that ball of twine.
Nope, never.
It's there. It's like, okay, we saw it. Yep, let's keep going to the cooler stuff.
Yep, I know, everybody. I know Saint Seiya has sequels. But fortunately for me, none of them are on the Shonen Jump app.
That's good.
Yeah. If they add any of the Saint Seiya sequels to, I think there's only one actually. If they add like the next part of Saint Seiya to the Shonen Jump app before I'm done with this, I will cry. Because knowing me, I would not let myself leave it at that. I would have to keep reading.
Yeah.
Now,
Teo sent me.
I'm really hoping for a sharp turnaround. I really am. But again, we're a quarter of the way into this thing.
Yeah, it's still the same. Yeah, Teo sent me a meme, or a page from Saint Seiya, and it's someone who looks like they're dead, and then someone's like, "Impossible! What? Shiryu has come back to life." Like because Teo's mentioned. I haven't even read it, but I know because Teo's mentioned it a bunch. People just keep coming back to life.
Shiryu specifically,
so it's nothing new.
Yeah. Like Shiryu specifically had okay, let me break down what happens in that chapter. All right, so that's the Cancer Knight. That's the guy who represents the crab, who that Shiryu is fighting. And he has a special power that just sends your soul to the underworld. It kills you instantly. And Shiryu has already straight up died twice earlier in the series. Like not even like exaggerating. He physically died twice and then came back.
And keep in mind, listener, like this is less than 30 chapters into this thing.
Well, no, it's slightly over 30 chapters at this point. This was around 32 or 33. Still, less than 35 chapters. That's still ridiculous. So this would have been Shiryu's third death. This is Shiryu's third death. He comes back from it. Do you want to know what happens not even 5 pages later?
Does he die again?
He sends him back to the underworld again, making it Shiryu's 4th canonical death.
Oh my
2
gosh.
deaths inside like 10 pages. And Shiryu straight up calls it out too. He's like, "I've died twice before and come back. The god of death just doesn't seem to want me." It's like, okay. and I know, like, there are probably a lot of people listening to this. It's like, yes, I do read a lot of American comics, and death is like a rotating door in like American superhero comics, specifically when it comes to Marvel and DC. But at the same time, like Marvel and DC long ago gave up the idea that that's really something that matters across like arcs. It's like, if one writer kills a character off, that means something for that writer's run. But when the next writer takes over, it doesn't matter as much, right?
Yeah.
So, like that. But like, this is one guy. This is one writer's thing. This is one guy writing this.
They just he just keeps resetting, like he's starting a new run. He's a new writer on a new run.
Yeah, like it's.
This is what Saint Seiya has done. It has destroyed Teo's brain.
We're not even doing the manga study right now, and I can't like. So yeah, like, and okay, I mean, I'm gonna go over a lot of this again once I actually get to talk about Milestone 7. This isn't even the next milestone I'm gonna talk about. This is 2 milestones ahead of us. But like, it probably won't shock you to learn Shiryu does beat the Cancer Knight. By like, you know, they both fight in the underworld, and Shiryu like throws him down into the pit or whatever. It was either Shiryu or someone else. I don't quite remember if somebody else showed up or not, but like, it ends with the Cancer Knight getting thrown down into like the pit in the underworld, and like, you know, that's permanent, forever dead. Or maybe he doesn't kill him. I don't remember, dude. I know that's bad because it's currently what I'm reading. Like, that was like the last chapter I read.
You're just trying to repress it.
And I'm so exhausted. Like, Saint Seiya immediately exhausts me. And this is going to sound super weird because I'm going to be honest. I'll spoil a little bit of Milestone 6. I'm uncharacteristically complimentary of Saint Seiya in Milestone 6. All of that goes away from Milestone 7. I'll tell you that right now. Like, Milestone 6 felt like a turnaround, like, oh, maybe this will turn out better than Demon Slayer. It won't. Saint Seiya at this point, I'm pretty sure, is never going to rise above an 18. Like, Demon Slayer still got a shot at rising at least to a 16 in my ranking.
Yeah.
Saint Seiya will forever hover around the 19 and 20 range. And at that, like, I'm being generous there. Something's got to be really, really bad to dip below Saint Seiya in the future.
Yeah.
And it has to be within Saint Seiya's 111 chapters. Because here's the thing. Once Saint Seiya's done, it's not getting included in future rankings. Every time I finish a series, it's locked into whatever the last rank I gave it was when it was a part of the rotation.
Yeah.
Otherwise, as things go on, they're not going to be included in like overall rankings. Yeah. So I'm not going to be ranking 20 series every time I do this in the future based on hazy memories of something that I finished weeks ago. Once I do have things finished. So, So after, like, the last time Saint Seiya is going to be ranked is probably chapter 100, actually. So Saint Seiya is only going to be a part of 4 rankings because I'm not going to bother ranking it based on 11 chapters after that with when it comes to the next pit stop. Because the thing is, I'm going to give my overall thoughts on Saint Seiya at the landmark once I've read chapter 111, and then I'm going to be done with it.
Yeah, I told Teo when he had sent me that page of, and I don't read Saint Seiya, but I knew this is something he's faced multiple times with this, the repetition of it. I told him You're inducing yourself to some country's form of psychological torture with this book.
That's what it feels like, dude.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And also there is a specific, like, at this point you could call it a tick that the main villain of the series so far does at like the beginning and ending of every single statement, every single word bubble, every single thought stream. There is a snicker, like that old school anime at the beginning and ending of every single statement and conversation and thought. It's like I can hear it. I'm only reading it, but I can hear it in my head. I miss my wife, Tails.
Yeah. I'm gonna stick to reading stuff I want to read. That's just me.
You know, Saint Seiya is a classic, right? People like it. I had no idea what I was signing up for. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. And now I'm way too deep to let myself stop. I told myself from the beginning, like, outside of extenuating circumstances like spotty availability, which was the case for JoJo, I'd still be reading JoJo right now if part 2 was available on the app. Now, Mashal's been fun because that's what I replaced JoJo with. I like Mashal, but I'm going to be honest, I would have liked to continue JoJo too. So, but yeah, short of like extenuating circumstances like spotty availability, I was not going to let myself stop reading any of these for any reason until they were finished.
Yeah.
Because the intention is to learn. I want to learn from these, and I want to see the connections between them. I want to see how the older ones influenced the more recent ones, how all of the older ones influenced the more recent ones, not just Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
But yeah, like picking Saint Seiya, I did not like. I thought that Demon Slayer was going to be the one where it was like, okay, this is the iffy one where it's like, I know there are a lot more mistakes in this one that can be pointed out. I had no idea how much worse Saint Seiya was going to be. Because like the thing is, Demon Slayer, like, it is very much like the Thanos meme of perhaps I treated you too harshly. Because like Demon Slayer is like my 19th favorite by I'm not going to say a slim margin because it is a frustrating series for me. But Demon Slayer is my 19th favorite in this particular set by, a normal margin. Like, something normal and expected.
Yeah.
Saint Seiya is my 20th favorite by a mile. Like, Saint Seiya is so much more aggravating and, worst of all, boring than even Demon Slayer is. Every character in Demon Slayer could behave like Zenitsu, and Saint Seiya would. That's not true.
I was about to say.
I
might be a little too far.
That's entirely too hyperbolic. I should not spread misinformation like that. If every character behaved like Zenitsu, I would probably give myself a pass and let myself drop Demon Slayer.
Just quit it,
But Zenitsu, just one Zenitsu, is not enough to make Demon Slayer worse than Saint Seiya.
Yeah.
And that is, like, for anyone who knows my taste in characters, that's really, really, really saying something.
Yeah.
That is a horrific indictment of my opinion on Saint Seiya.
Yeah, you'll be able to hear even more of Teo's thoughts on this with Milestone 6 and 7.
Yeah. Oh my god. Like I said, I'm going to be uncharacteristically complimentary for Milestone 6, but
Yeah.
almost all of it's going to be retracted by Milestone 7, I think. Yeah. So yeah, anyone who's here, because Saint Seiya becomes the longest part of every manga study, I think, just by the nature of how frustrating it is. Like, I like, even for Tokyo Ghoul, I wish I had as many positive things to say about Tokyo Ghoul as I have negative things to say about Saint Seiya. Because Tokyo Ghoul so far is still objectively my favorite on the list.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's been like the highest quality series from the start and improving.
Mm-hmm.
Like none of the series on this list started as strong as Tokyo Ghoul did and then got better within the first 30 chapters. They all either started really, really strong and stayed there for the first 30 chapters, or started kind of okay and then improved over the first 30 chapters. Tokyo Ghoul's the only one that hit the ground running and got faster.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you have Saint Seiya, which tripped at the finish line, skidded its face against the pavement, got up with a twisted ankle, and has been limping along 2 laps behind everybody else.
Yeah, it just keeps going. Like the they already stopped like looking at the clock in terms of runners coming in. Like the judges aren't looking at that anymore.
Yep.
Like yeah, let's
but
everyone's
you can
in,
still hear...
oh, there's still someone else. So we still all have to sit and wait for this person to make it through the finish line. We want you to stop. We want you to not make it to... Okay, you're
you can
I guess
still
we're just going to sit in the bleachers.
You can still hear the pained grunts and whines and wheezes of this injured person trying to get to the finish line with their twisted ankle, tears and snot running down their face. Their cheek has been skinned by the pavement. Their elbows are bleeding because they tripped more than once. You can hear their ankle cracking with every single step and limp they take. But they're determined to finish this qualifying race.
Yes.
That's right. We made it a super low stakes one just for this to be that much more humiliating. This is just the qualifier. But yeah, no, dude. Yeah. Saint Seiya. My God.
Yeah, Teo's gonna read some more manga. He's gonna push through Saint Seiya.
More like I'm gonna push Saint Seiya through my butthole because it's a load of doo-doo feces.
I don't even think it belongs there.
Yeah, it's... Yeah, no, I like listeners. I always tell you, if you want to read along to the manga study, don't read all of them, but especially don't read Saint Seiya.
Yeah. You don't have to read along with the manga study, just
don't
ever read Saint Seiya.
Yeah, or if you're morbidly curious about like why my opinions on Saint Seiya are so harsh, do read along. Like, expose yourself to it.
Yeah, that's true.
See what it's like, and see if you disagree with me, because there might be some of you twisted little monkeys out there that do.
It's like, this is my favorite series ever. What are you talking about?
Yeah, no, like I've definitely hurt someone's feelings. Like, they might not have ever heard the podcast before, but like if they ever do hear me talk about Saint Seiya, I've definitely hurt someone's feelings. So they're like, it's my favorite. And you know what? That's fine. You're allowed to be an insane person. No, I'm kidding. Like, I don't judge people based on their tastes, but at the same time, why Saint Seiya? It's blocky. It's boring to look at. It's boring to read. It's boring, and it's the same. It's the same thing over and over. Like, more so than other manga. It's the same thing over and over.
For me, I'm not saying it's the repetition part, You had mentioned the thing of I don't judge people on this, but I kind of do. For me, it's I don't judge people if they like Zenitsu, but I also do kind of judge them if they like Zenitsu.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, it takes a. There is someone close to me whose favorite character is Zenitsu. We've talked about him before. It's Clay. It's our friend. It's friend of the podcast, Clay.
Yeah,
Clay, if you're listening, I know you do listen sometimes. Get help. Zenitsu's not a good character to be your favorite.
Yeah, this is the Sarah McLachlan commercial.
In the arms of the angel, fly away from here. If you were a loved one, like Zenitsu as a character, or God forbid, he's your favorite, call this number. Will send someone to your home with a shotgun?
We'll
call 1-800 I'll beat your child.
It's to the point where there just is no helping them anymore. They're to the point of no return, and we have to let go of them.
No, liking Zenitsu is not the same as liking Usopp. That's one of the most frequent questions we get, and it's not the same. It's not even remotely close to being the same.
Call us today.
1-800 I'll beat your child. That's an oldie but a goodie.
Yeah. Well, with all that said, I have been Brandon.
Sorry, I was taking a drink. I've been Teo.
And now we're not. We're taking sips. Gulp, gulp, gulp.
Go.